in the tattoo industry, because it is so crowded, you've got to be...
Is this right? So you went on tour with Little Mix, is that right? Or what?
So the story behind that is...
Did you meet loads like famous tattoo artists?
I've never been so intimidated in my life. At the time, it was MTV's third highest rated show they'd ever done. Like, doing Catfish. It was just behind Geordie Shore, which is their holy grail. So MTV were like, we need to keep making more of this. Then the budget started getting slashed. It got to a point where I just said...
Did you want to be like famous?
I had no life. I honestly had no life. It's not always been rainbows. When I was a kid, I was literally spent my early years in hospital. I hardly left. On the kids' wards, there was murals all over the show, Disney characters on the wall, and I would just copy them.
What's your definition of success? Right, so episode 3 of Jack Fletcher Sailors podcast. So I'd like to say thank you for being my third guest, which is mad, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
The turnaround's been very quick as well.
Yeah, it's only been a week or something, hasn't it? Yeah. But now, obviously, I've seen what you do with Alex, and I'm grateful for your message, mate. So I'm happy to be on it.
Class, mate. I appreciate it. Well, I obviously know who you are. You've just tattooed me. So,
sorry about that.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, for those who don't know, actually, no, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction first. So, and correct me if I'm wrong here. So, famous tattoo artist and entrepreneur, TV personality, should we say, as well?
I think I'm holding on for that a bit too long now. It's been a few years, but past,
Class,
I
and,
suppose.
well, Danny Robinson. So for anyone, the way I always say is anyone who doesn't know you, and said it last time, is living under a rock and not part of your already following. Who are you and what exactly is it that you do?
So I'm Danny Robinson. I'm a tattoo artist from Blackpool. I'm the owner of Checkmate Studios, which we're in now. The owner of Checkmate Tattoo Care and Checkmate Spirits as well. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Class.
Tattoo.
Class. And alcohol, not just tattoo.
Yeah, the spirits. This is one of the latest of the endeavours, which I'm absolutely thrilled with. We're doing really well on that, and it's something I've fancied doing for a long time, and then literally just the stars aligned for it, and I got involved with it at a good time.
Class.
Yeah.
Class. Well, this is the way that I try and structure it as well. So before we dive too deep into kind of what's got you to where you are today, the success you've already kind of had within your business and your companies.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything really. I've tried to do as much research as possible, but I don't really know much about like your beginning, where you grew up, kind of what got you from being born basically to the Danny Robinson that we see in front of us kind of here today.
I don't really post much private stuff online. I try and keep everything, as close to me as possible. I just stick to like social media with just for business. But so I'm Blackpool born and bred. I got out of the town when I was 26, I think I was. I met Mrs. She's in Charnock Richard, so we moved to near Preston. I was brought up near Blackpool Airport. So, do you know what? They were good years growing up. I absolutely loved it by the seaside, and we moved up to near Martin area for when I was quite young, and then spent the rest of my years there growing up. Personal life, I don't know how deep you want to go.
Don't know. I don't know. Who did you grow up? Did you grow up like? Who did you grow up with? Was it like typical mum, dad?
Yeah. So fortunate enough, still got mum and dad. They've been married for a long time.
Is that your plan with your missus then? You want to kind of replicate what
Absolutely, they do? Yeah. Because, like for me personally, I don't feel like I see, like not many of my mates are married anymore. Got married. It doesn't seem to be like a thing. I'm quite traditional with that because I'm in a household where mum and dad have been together from a young age and they're still together. And that's what I want. Obviously, start a family, which we're trying at the moment. We got married last year.
I'm going to dig into that as well because fuck it, I'll do it now. So the bit where you got a video, and I might even try and cut to it on the pod where you say your speech, which is like 10-10, like, do you know what I mean? Your speech was sick.
Yeah.
Then at the end of it, you turn to the camera and go, beat that. And I'm like, it's badass, do you know what I mean? It's cool, but the speech, I showed my missus on my way here today, I showed Ellie, and I was like, watch this. I showed her, and she's like, welling up, she's like, It's amazing. And I'm like, okay, I thought you get me going. Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
do you know what? I think that's me and my wife in a nutshell. We just take the piss out of each other. We're not very serious, if you know what I mean. We always have a laugh and a joke, and that speech for me summed us up perfectly, where I got everyone like on the verge of tears, and then just had to say something like that at the end and just get everyone to laughter, because that's what I just want everyone to be happy and, you know, have a laugh and stuff. I like the serious element. I can be serious when I want. But yeah, you know, that was yeah. I didn't know how it was going to go down. My nana was a bit, you know, why making a joke of it. But yeah, it was good. That was a good day. Do you know what? It's mad how time flies. We're nearly married a year. You know, it's coming up to a year.
Don't forget that, because that'll go down like a lead balloon. Your first anniversary.
I know. Do you know what? I need to have a chat with her actually. Like, how many anniversaries do you want to remember? The day we went on our first date, is that an anniversary?
Yeah.
When we officially got together, because we led each other on for a long time at the start. When I proposed to you, is that an anniversary? Is the wedding day? So we need to. Cause it's going to start costing a fortune.
Them into one.
Yeah. So which day do we agree on? I think the wedding day is probably when you're official, you know, legally. When you're legally official. But yeah, it was fantastic, and I'm glad we did it. I feel like a new man getting married. It's weird. I just feel like, don't know. I just feel more grown up.
How long have you been with your partner?
It's like 7 years or something.
Do you think sorry, I always say as well, like I ask anyone that I speak to, whether it's on a pod or not, and I always say, like, how important do you think she's been? Because what you've built, obviously, across your group of companies, and also the job you work, it's not a very, it's a sociable job for you, but it's long hours. Like, you've just been to Glasgow for this past week. Was it 3 days you were there?
A week, sorry.
A week. So you're there for a week.
Yeah.
Has she always been like supportive and understanding?
Absolutely, yeah. Like, partners in the past, I've had some that have been understanding, and some that are like, you're not tattooing girls, and where are you tattooing her and all that. Some that have been really controlling, which just doesn't work with me. And she's just not bothered at all. She's so laid back and chilled. I think that's why we click so well. She's, you know, we could go all day without even speaking to each other. Do you know what I mean? And then when we get home, it's like, how you been and whatever. But I've got friends, I'm not going to mention as much as I'd love to. You know, that are like, well, I can't do this, can't do that. You know, they're a bit more controlling and stuff. And I'm like, you've got to have, it'll make you stronger if the more chilled you are with your partner, because you'll start resenting each other if you start asking where are they, what time are you going to be back, especially with my job and what I've got going on. Some evenings I don't want to go home. I just want to go to play badminton or something with my mates, and I can just text her and say I'm playing badminton or whatever, and she just won't be bothered.
As long as you don't have like a meal booked together.
Yeah, of course. Because 9 times out of 10 we don't even know what we're having for tea that night, so we don't have any like structure in terms of that. As long as the dog's picked up from daycare or whatever, and the dog's looked after, we're happy, and the weekends are our time together. Right. So yeah, do you know what? I honestly deep down could not have asked for anyone better for me personally. She knows about like with the whole TV stuff and that. She's just not bothered. She's just not jealous, and she was a breath of fresh air when I first met her, and I thought she's a good one. So
sick.
Maybe saying that might get me some brownie points. Actually, it sounds like I'm doing. But yeah, no, she's good.
We can put like little love hearts again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Camp it up. That'd be good.
But so if I go back a little bit as well, so you said obviously you grew up in Blackpool, born and bred. From bits of like digging that I've done. So to reel a few off, I don't want to look at my notes because I've worked hard for this one. So a couple of jobs you've had, McDonald's being one.
Yeah.
Seems to be quite a common trend. I've not worked at McDonald's, but I've worked in like fast food industries and stuff like that. But like, seems to be like quite a common trend amongst highly performing people that they've all been at some sort of big chain or whatever. But was that a big stint at McDonald's? Or?
McDonald's. So I was just left school, and my dad was literally like, you need to go out and get a job because you're not being a bum. So I just went straight to McDonald's. It was literally as simple as that. I walked in, said, is there any jobs going? Got the manager, had an interview there and then. I think I started like the following week. And people slag McDonald's off, but I tell you what, it was such a fun job for me personally. It was class. My best mate ended up starting a couple of weeks later. Within 6 months, we were staff trainers. I had all my stars, which is the big deal at McDonald's. Yeah. And then after I did my staff training, I was in Wigan doing a management course at 16. So
Nice.
they wanted, Dawn, who was the manager, they wanted me and my friend Connor to be like some of the youngest shift managers at McDonald's, and we were on the course, and then how long in? Must be about 7 or 8 months. I thought I was surrounded at McDonald's by a lot of managers that had been there a long time, and I thought I don't want to get roped into that.
Scares you.
Yeah, it scared me a little bit, and I thought I'd always wanted to work for myself or whatever, and I thought this is going to just put me in a fast food life.
You'll end up getting, say, a mortgage that's probably a little bit out of your budget, all that sort of stuff, and then you're
I'll
like,
never
shit,
have
I
that
can't
opportunity.
leave.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do. You know, it's the wages is pretty good for like a store manager or shift manager at McDonald's. But it just wasn't for me, so I jumped ship after that and got out of it. But do you know what? That period was fantastic. It was such a laugh because it was all like mates. You could eat whatever you want. But you weren't technically allowed to, but we took the piss a little bit, made whatever we wanted, and it was just so easy. That was the thing.
I don't think I'd have left. I'd have been just making these mad burgers and thought, yeah, do you know what? The pros definitely outweigh the cons and staying. Do you know what I mean?
The amount of food we probably shouldn't have wasted because we were just experimenting with what we could make was out of control. But you know what? I really enjoyed it. But it was the whole having someone to answer to, you know, when I could have my break and stuff like that. That's what got to me a little bit because the manager was very, very strict at that store. So when she was in, it was like, fuck.
Well, it leads me on quite nicely, that. So obviously, I run a call centre at the moment. And then I said another job that you had was in a call centre.
Yeah.
And I know from not just my one, but obviously other ones I've worked in and overseen and so on, that's very strict on. You go for a break at this time. You do this at this time. You do that at that time. How did you do telesales for very long? Or was it just like...
I did 2 kind of call centre jobs. I worked for Pilly.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it was called now, but it was selling the energy.
Yeah.
That wasn't for me. I just didn't like the cold calling aspect. I couldn't deal with being told no and F off and shit on the phone. It just really got to me. So I didn't last long there. And that environment was too much for me as well. It was a madhouse there.
Yeah.
And then I went to NS&I, National Savings, what's been knocked down now. And I just worked in the call centre there for premium bonds. Same with that. It was only a few months. That lasted, but that was easy enough.
Yeah.
You know, it was easy enough. But these are just like little bits of jobs I've hopped in between, trying to get started on my own and find my own way.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, we've all got to eat and
100%.
Pay bills and stuff. And I wasn't naive to think like, no, tomorrow I'm going to make the money. I always had a job to try and fund what I was planning.
So So another thing that I've seen as well is like, so from early on, you had a number of different jobs when, like, before you were, let's say legally able to work. So you used to, was it paint and decorating? Paint and decorating when you was like young though, is that right?
Yeah, I was 14, 15, I think, 14 or 15. So it was when year 9 at school, so whatever age that were.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you get your options and what you want to do, one of ours was construction at Blackpool and Fowle College, and I picked that. So it was like 6 weeks of brickwork, 6 weeks of paint and decorating, 6 weeks joinery and all that type of stuff. And I really took to the paint and decorating. I just found it personally easy.
You're artistic, is that?
Yeah, and I think because I was artistic, because I've been artistic since I was 3. I just took to that and like wallpapering. I was like, is it meant to be this easy? And I was really good at it.
Got like John in the corner, like, I can't fucking get it straight. Like, can you help me?
All the old boys was like, you're doing it wrong. Listen, yeah. So where I used to live in Martin, we lived on a corner and it was a cul-de-sac and it was just full of pensioners and stuff like that. Lovely people, but at the age where they weren't going in a care home, but they were like on their own, so they could do stuff themselves. So I was doing like decorating for them. So I'd do like painting fences, gates, guttering, and then one of the ladies asked if I could like literally decorate like wallpaper a bedroom and change all that up. So I was doing that at 14 and I was earning good money because you know what pensions are like, they're quite generous with the money. Like I would paint a couple of fences, maybe get 50 quid at 14. I was like, Jesus Christ, maybe that influenced me wanting to earn money for myself, because I was like, when you earn that at that age and then you go to McDonald's when I was on £4.25 an hour, it's probably subconsciously lined up like, this is not the right thing.
100%,
But I was doing that, so I was wallpapering literally bedrooms at 14, 15. And then I did that. The reason it stopped is her daughter said, "Oh, can you do some for me?" I was like, "Yeah, no worries." So I went round. I said, "What do you want doing?" She went, "I just want all the hallway and landing doing, like wallpapering." I was like, "Big job that." So I got my mate in who I was doing decorating with at the college.
John, he was in the corner asking for the help.
My mate Miles comes with us, and we strip it all, and she's got us this wallpaper, and we did it in the day while she was at work, and she'd come home and she's like, "Oh my God, what have you done?" I was like, "What's up?" She went, "You've not followed the pattern at all." And there was, I didn't see it. It just looked like, I didn't line anything up, yeah. Because the evening come and the light was shining on it. It was like so out of line, and it was well expensive, like per roll. And I'd messed like hundreds of pounds worth of wallpaper up. So I was like, "Yeah, this ain't for me." So I don't think I did anything like that again.
That could have taught you a lesson for tattooing, like attention to detail.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like,
Which I was upset about because I was a perfectionist, but I just didn't see it.
Are you blaming Miles?
Yeah,
It's got to be Miles.
I'm sure he started it off. Sorry, Miles.
Yeah, class. So that was another one. So I seen that you'd done that. But I thought this a minute ago, actually. So, especially where we've grown up, Blackpool, it's got a bad name. Most lads 13, 14 years old who see a load of old people on an estate, some would see him as like an easy target and think they could go and, I don't know, do whatever, could rob them or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the entrepreneur mindset is like, I've seen...
I could add value to their lives, man, and just and get something out of it.
I love that. He said add value. It's not like, I can just go and take money off them by doing jobs for him. It's like, I can go and make them feel happy.
Yeah, exactly. There was a bit of a selfish opportunity for me, but at the same time, I knew I could add value to them. They were too old to do it themselves. Some of them didn't even have family left.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they wanted to be proud of their home, and it was a nice little area. You know, everyone did look after the houses, and I do bits of gardening, little maintenance stuff, nothing too advanced. Like I wouldn't start putting up a brick wall,
building extensions
at the back.
You couldn't come and do it. An extension for us, could you?
2-story extension up back. Yeah, I'll sort of do that next week. Miles. I thought, and like I would walk the dogs and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I would never be in the mindset of like trying to rob. I've always been in. Yeah, I've had mates, and where we lived was where a lot of the travellers lived as well.
Yeah.
And I was brought up with some of them, and I quickly learned like that's not the way of. I'm not saying they all are, because some of them are very nice, respectable people, but I knew some of the kids were wrong uns, and that just wasn't me. I was too scared of mum and dad, to do anything too wrong. But yeah, do you know what? And it was quite heartwarming that some of them were just absolutely happy, because they've had fences that have been battered for so long, and they've just not got the energy to do it. I was just able to do it for them, and
Well, you said before, because I promise you, I'm going to get to the point where I say, when did you get into tattooing? But I don't want to dive into it too quick. But you said before, like, you've been very artistic since the age of 3, which is like, to be fair, I'm not like trying to turn this about me, but my daughter, like, she holds a pen correctly. She's got the bug, and I can see it in her. But what stands out? What were you doing at 3 that's like, oh shit, he's actually got like a talent here?
I don't know. I think it was just, from what my parents say, I was literally just obsessed with drawing. It wasn't like in spare like my mum and dad giving me some pens and papers and just keep me quiet, because there's no iPads or whatever back then. But I think the main reason is I still am. I've got really bad asthma, and when I was a kid, I was literally spent my young early years in hospital. I hardly left, because my asthma was that bad. I was constantly on oxygen. They couldn't get the balance right to keep me just breathing normally on my own. So it was just safer for me to be in hospital. And then obviously on the kids' wards, there was murals all over the show. So like next to my bed, I remember it now, I was on like an end bed, and there was like Disney characters on the wall, and I would just copy them. And it was just literally constantly just drawing, and just trying to get them as close to what was next to me as possible.
How old were you then when you was in hospital just drawing?
I started when I was 3. I got diagnosed at 3 with asthma, so it would have been from, like, I was in before until because from what I know, they didn't know straight away that it was asthma. Don't know because it was so severe or whatever, but it was 3 when I was diagnosed. And it was a period from 3 till, up until a few weeks ago, I was in hospital because I had an asthma attack, dropping my dog off at Pets at Home to have its haircut. It's just scary how quick it come on, because I can go a couple of years. Like, that was a period, a couple of years where I've been absolutely fine, and then literally just dropped my dog off to get its haircut, and because there was a certain dog getting blow dried in there, instantly just my lungs, I just couldn't breathe at all, and I started panicking.
Yeah.
So I left to get to my car, because I left my inhaler in the car. Taking my inhaler, and I just wasn't getting my breath back, and then you start panicking then, because and the only way I could get comfy was literally leant over my bonnet. It was mad, and it was freezing, but I was sweating, and I had to call an ambulance and to Squires Gate and get into the bloody ambulance, and they blue lighted me to the hospital. Yeah. But it was just a little reminder of, like, sometimes you just be aware, like, don't push myself too much, and because anything can happen at any moment with it. But it is what it is. But for the whole drawing thing, I think it may have been sheer boredom in hospital, but the only thing I found a bit of pleasure in was just drawing and sketching and stuff like that. Wow.
So and then I also read that you started to sell some of, like, your artwork in, was it in high school?
High school, yeah. So everyone knew I could draw as soon as, it was like my little show off thing when I started school, like just drawing cartoons for whoever, and then people were just requesting them, and I was like, what the hell, I ain't got time to give you all free. When you start buying them, and I'll start prioritising you. And like, it's only like 30p or something for a little drawing book.
Take it.
Got me some extra dinner at school and that. Put it on my little card for lunchtime. But I was selling them all the time, just selling my drawings, and it was good.
Class.
That's when I first made money from my artwork.
So then, I've got it all planned out, but I'm going to try and do as much as I can without having to look at my notes, because it then a quote that then said from you, and don't hold me to this, I'm going to try and get it as right as possible, was I started with a £30 tattoo kit with nothing but, I want to say, hard work and dedication, or sacrifice. It's one of those. Hard work and dedication, yeah. So can you tell me the story about where you was like, right, I'm not working at NSNI anymore, I'm not doing all these other jobs. It's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy this tattoo kit for 30 quid and I'm just going to go full pelt. Yeah,
so if we go back to the whole, like, where the tattoo thing come from, it was same again, very early age. My granddad, he had tattoos, which unfortunately we lost a few weeks ago.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, my goodness, it got to me that.
Take them if you need to take them.
Yeah, no, I've not spoke about it, but so he had tattoos, and I was just obsessed with him. He had a swallow on his hand, and I just thought it was cool. I really did, and he was the only one, apart from my uncle at the time, who had tattoos. I used to always ask him about them, and then my brother, when my brother went into the army at 16.
Is he older than you?
Yeah, he's 5 years older than me. So he went in the army at 16, and then on his leave, he came home and said to Mum and Dad, I want to get a tattoo. So my mum and dad took him to Phil in Fleetwood.
Anybody who's older has got a tattoo from Tattoo Phil.
So we went there, and we dropped him off, and he was like, we'll come back in an hour. And we picked my brother up, he got this tattoo, and I was fascinated at the start, but dropping my brother off and the thought of him going into this dodgy looking studio, because it was a dodgy looking studio, and coming out with something that was it was mint. Like, this was when Phil was really good, it was solid lines, it was bright, it was just mint. I was just obsessed with that. I thought that is absolutely class how he's done that. So
how old were you at this point?
So I'd have been 11.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'd have been 11, and then ever since that, like, when on the weekends, if I was with my mates going on the pier, I used to get henna tattoos on my forearm, and then go home, like, test the water, like, Mum, I've just got a tattoo, and she's like, oh yeah, have you? And then she noticed henna. I just testing the water because I was 14 when I went and got my first tattoo.
Right.
So,
well, I'm gonna say, I can relate, because in school I used to, like, draw all over my arms and stuff, and then I was like, I used to do the same as you, henna tattoos, go to my mum on holiday, and I'd be like, well, I'll do once my mum had got a henna tattoo, and she was like, oh, looks good, that. So I thought that was an okay, so I came home, and literally within a week, I got Only God Can Judge Me there at 14 across my chest, and I was like,
oh my God.
I went home, and my mum was like, what the fuck have you done? And I'm like, I'm not even religious for starters. That's why Stacey's covering it now.
Oh my God. How did you get it done in a studio as well?
No.
No, it was dodgy.
Yeah, You thought Phil's would look dodgy. Like when mine got done was dodgy. Do you know what I mean? Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's good. So I was at school with and one of my mates. He said, I'm going to go and get a tattoo at the weekend. I said, I'll come with you. Anyway, you going to get one? I said, I don't know, I might do. Because when I've showed my mum these henna tattoos, she's not been over crazy. Like, it was like, yeah, it's henna. I was like, yeah, it should be all right. And I thought, and I used to be shit scared of needles, by the way. So we didn't go on holiday once, so I think it was like Cancun, because I wouldn't have the injection. Like, that's how. Kid? Yeah, I was so just hated needles. So the actual thought of me getting a tattoo, I thought it probably won't actually happen. Anyway, we got there, and my mate got it on. He got a tattoo on the back of his neck, got this name. And I thought, I'm going to do it. And I saw this cross. It was a cross with a scroll back around it. And it had mum, dad. And I thought, I'll get my brother's name in it. That's nice. No, get my mum, dad, and it's a cross. Not religious either. But so I got it done. And they didn't ask for ID. And it was done in a studio. I won't say where it were, but it was done in a studio in town. And I went back to my girlfriend's house at the time. And I showed her mum and dad. And they went mad. I was like, whoa, why are you mad? Yeah. You're underage, you're 14.
Child
you're at school. Yeah, it's abuse. Like, you've just been abused. I was like, oh my God. I was like, you think my mum and dad are going to go mad? They went, yeah. I was like, shit. So I thought, I'd ring my brother up, because my brother was just, he was never asked about what I did or whatever. He'd just be like, yeah. I said, right, I've got a tattoo. He's like, you are joking me. I went, oh, don't say that. I said, mate, you're going to have to pick me up. I'm going to get my dad some whiskey and mum some flowers and see if it softens it. So my brothers picked me up, went to Asda, got my dad some whiskey, which I didn't even get ID'd for then.
I'm just thinking, I was like, just going for everything.
Yeah, how many crimes could I commit today? So, and I walked in the back door, mum and dad are in the front room, and I've got this whiskey and the flowers. And
what have you done?
Yeah, they go, what's that for? I said, well, I thought I'd done something nice, but apparently I think I've done something really wrong. They went, what have you done? I went, I've got a tattoo. And they're like, oh, yeah. I said, no, I have this time. I took my top off the blood and that, and my mum didn't think it was real. You know, she's looked, she's gone, oh my God, Steve, he's got a tattoo. It's not real, it's not fake, it's real. And just all hell broke loose. Oh, they went absolutely mental. Which pissed me off, because I wasted money on whiskey and flowers. So I was wasting money.
Take that back.
Yeah, if you go out like that, Christ. So yeah, I got grounded for a month. Finished school at 3:15, had to be on for 3:30. I couldn't hang around with any mates after school and all that. It was hell.
If you're listening to this, you'd already get the meaning behind Say Less Clothing and what it is that we stand for. It's a clothing brand that's built for the 1%ers, the people who work hard when no one else is watching. What I want to do is I want to give something back to everybody who's watching. If you go to www.say-less.co.uk and then use the term Say Less Pod at checkout, you'll receive 15% as a discount. Let's get back to the pod. Were you like me though, like no matter the weather, because you had a tattoo on your back, I was like, yeah, I'm taking my t-shirt off. I'm sticking. I'm trying to show it off anywhere I went.
I had a vest on, in winter, even at school in class. Take my top off. But even the teachers were like, that is absolutely mental. We've never had a student get a tattoo at that age. So, but it worked out all right, is what I say.
Yeah, you've still got it?
No, I've just only a couple of years ago had it covered. Not because I didn't like it, so I wanted a full back piece and it was getting in the way, so I had to get rid of it. But it held its time. I had it for about 15 years before it got covered or something.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
32.
Oh, yeah, you don't look 32.
Yeah, so. Botox, bro.
I keep getting told so that. I look aged, man.
Well, once you have it, the reason I started with Botox is because when I saw my face on TV for the first time, I thought, shit, fucking I look haggard. And all these reality celebrities were all like, oh, you need to try Botox. I never look back, mate. I can't look at myself without Botox anymore because you just feel awful.
It
just freezes you. Might be wearing it. Only lasts a few months on lads.
I'm very I do a lot with my eyebrows as well, so I feel like someone's like, whoa, you're having a stroke.
Just do it. Right. If you don't like it, it'll wear off. Do you know what I mean? But you feel so much fresher.
I'm only 28, so I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see,
Jesus,
that's what I get from everybody. It's like I'm only 28. Like, fuck, get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, apparently it's good for you. I don't know if it's good for you, but it's long run. It's something to do with the muscles, freezing them or something. So you look
younger for longer.
Yeah, younger for longer.
Can it reduce? How can it reverse it? But right, so we've gone through your first tattoo, which was sick, because that was a question I was going to ask as well. So how did the transition? So you were obsessed with kissing your brother, and then how did you become?
Yeah, so I was in between like jobs and stuff, and wasn't finding my feet. Like I said, I didn't want to work for anybody, and my dad was always pretty much in the back saying, "Do something with your art. Just try and do something." They just clicked. Like, why don't I actually just try and start tattooing? Because I would draw tattoos on my mates at school. It's not like it's not something I ever wanted to do. I always wanted to do it. I just thought, how do I actually get into it? It seemed, especially going to Phil's, because Phil was really arrogant and wouldn't hardly speak to you. You think, how do you get someone like that to teach you?
Yeah.
There wasn't, there was quite a few good studios around. I went to a lot of studios, like trying to get an apprenticeship, but truth be told, looking back now, I was a bit naive thinking my portfolio was good, and it wasn't good enough, to be fair. It was just full of sketches and no real precision artwork and tattoo designs and stuff.
You didn't know, though?
I didn't know.
You can't be hard on yourself, you didn't know.
To be honest, no one really said, no one guided me. I get people all the time asking for stuff, and we haven't physically got room to take on anyone else, but I'll advise them as best as I can. Like I said, I tried getting an apprenticeship. I went into a few studios, and they all said no, so I thought, I just had a look online on eBay and just bought a tattoo kit. And
how old were you at this point then?
I just turned 19 because I used the last of my birthday money. So
you love that.
I honestly, to be precise, it must have been like 40 odd quid I had left out of my birthday money. This kit was 30 quid, so I thought I was going to go for it and just bought this kit. It came a couple of days later. So I was on YouTube. Just to stress, I really don't want people to do this, because I've done some bad tattoos starting up because I didn't know what I was doing. Thinking I can just learn off YouTube and practice on myself. I'm full of shit. Tattoos, literally full of bad tattoos.
Is that what you started doing?
Yeah, this is my first ever tattoo on my legs, and then I've gone onto this leg. So if I could reach it, I would tattoo it. And I did that for 12 months, literally in my bedroom.
Just while you was working at the same time, you just go home?
I didn't even have a job then. Yeah, I did.
Just tunnel vision, thinking, right, I'm making this one work.
Yeah, I sold my car, so my car was off the road, so I didn't have the outgoings of insurance and petrol and stuff like that. And then I was just trying to limit my outgoings so I could just try and do as many tattoos as I could. So I did myself, and I had a few mates volunteer.
We kept saying before that your dad was saying, right, you need to get out and work and you need to do this, but then you said your dad was like, focus on your art, you're good at your art. So I take it your family dead supportive from the beginning.
Yeah, well, they knew I wasn't happy working for someone, and the outcome would be me working for myself. That was how it would have ended up somehow. I just know I would have made and found a way, whatever it was, something would have clicked, because I just tried absolutely everything. I think they were both very supportive, but no one's been self-employed in my family, or no one's had a business. So for me to start saying, I'm going to give this a go, I think it was a bit like they wanted me. I was getting to 19. There was no vision of me moving out, and they might have been just looking out for me, thinking, when's he going to actually make it? Do you know what I mean? Cool. How long is he going to? We're going to give him to live at home and fend for himself. Don't get me wrong; they would have always not going to kick me out or whatever, but just you want your kids to be the best they can, and nothing had worked for me beforehand. So
they must be proud of you now when they see you.
Absolutely, yeah. Mum and Dad tell me all the time how proud they are of me, and that they're happy I stuck it out, because I was one of them. I didn't really give myself much time as well. I always in my head thought it's going to work straight away, and if it didn't, I get wound up and they're like, right, it's not going to work. Now I know you've got to give business time. Whatever you're doing, nothing comes overnight.
It's fitting to the name. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to transition a little bit into this, right? Because it's fitting to the name that you've called your studio. But where did the name Checkmate come from?
I'd like to say it came from somewhat deep like that, but it didn't. I was just watching Queen's Gambit on Netflix in bed with the missus, and I heard the word Checkmate, and I thought, that sounds good. Because the studio at the time was called the Tattoo Lounge. It was called the Tattoo Lounge for 6 years.
The sign used to say as seen on
MTV. I'm still running with that, to be honest. It's on the new sign.
Kids walking past what the fuck's MTV? Do you know what I mean? Was that a program?
Googling it. I was in that. Yeah, so that was called Tattoo Lounge, and I just started the aftercare stuff, which we'll go on to later. And that was originally called Checkmate, and I just loved the name so much. I just wanted everything to be called Checkmate and the same branding for everything. So yeah. Hi, mate.
Can I interrupt?
Can you come back tomorrow, mate?
I just want to find out who's that Reggie's. I want to buy it.
What, mine?
Is it A Payne?
Yeah.
My mum's Alison Payne.
Oh, no,
Come knock on next door if you want to sell it.
All right, mate. Cheers, pal.
Keep that in for the crack.
No, it's funny. It says, I want to buy it. It says A to B, pay. It doesn't say Alison Payne. Hey, but listen, I'll make money wherever I can. I've got it cheap. If you want to give me a few grand for it, now you can have
Money's
it.
money.
I'll drive it home without a red, John. Right, have we locked the door?
I couldn't lock it.
Oh, you've got to push it in and turn it. It's the thing's gone, the valve.
I thought, oh, he's going to have to move my fucking car.
Push it in the lock.
Yeah, just turning it. Has it done it? There you go, mate.
So, right,
Where was we up to then?
we got. I said your parents must be proud of you.
Oh, no,
that was
and the
the
branding.
name, Checkmate.
Yeah. So yeah, we just called everything Checkmate in the end. It just made everything easier. I hated the name Tattoo Lounge because so many businesses with lounge on them, which there actually wasn't many when I started out. I'm not saying I started that. It just seems like everything was called lounge at the end. So yeah, we rebranded when we bought this place and yeah. But going back to like the whole tattooing start, so it was 12 months of mistakes and hard work and stuff. We're literally having people come to my house, which my mum wasn't really best pleased with, but she supported it.
Was that when you first fully started? Would you go to other people's houses, have people come to yours?
Originally it was just mine, and then when I earned a couple of quid, I got my car back, and then I would travel to people and do it. So like within I don't know how long exactly it were, but a few months into physically tattooing, the council rang me up, and it was the head of health and safety called Jackie Harrison. Phoned me up saying somebody's told us you've been tattooing from home. This is illegal and it's not a safe practice. Which you need to sort it out. So we need you to come into the office now. We're going to prosecute you and we're going to make a deal of this because it's not good. So I shit myself. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I immediately got in my car and went straight down and I met her, and there was like the head of licensing. And I said, look, I'm genuine. I'm a genuine guy. I'm not just trying to.
I'm a thug trying to.
I'm not like a little scally just tattooing people. I was like, I've tried everything. Like I've shown him messages on my phone, like studios, a message saying, can I come and show you my work? Just getting ignored. I said, look, I want to do it. I'm doing everything as safe as I can to my knowledge. So I had like my sharps bins, my needle. There was at the it's like the walk-in centre where basically where the druggies go and get free sharp bins
and all that,
and then you drop them off. So I was getting rid of my needles that way. I was doing that daily. And then my clinical ways, such as
he's the freshest druggie I've ever seen. He's in here every day.
I said straight away, I went, don't tar me with a crack brush. I'm just a tattooist. I'm just tattooing. And then PHS used to come to my house and take away all my clinical bags, like kitchen roll and inks and anything that's contaminated.
Whereas most people would have just been bagging that in the bin and been like,
I was making sure that everything like that was spot on because I knew probably one day someone would grasp me. I had people, tattooists messaging me saying, what are you doing tattooing, give me a job then. Never got any of that. Looking back, I see why now, because I was horrendous. But luckily, after a year, I finally got into a studio in Leighton called Mods and Mockers. And the guy who owns that culd Bob Valance, and I worked there for 4 years, and he literally taught me out my bad habits and taught me from scratch absolutely everything. And we'll not be here without him. So he's the only one who gave me a chance. So I'm very ever so grateful for him. I still speak to him now. We go to each other's house like every other month, for tea and have a catch up. And our wives are close, and it's still like he's like a father figure in business for me. So he taught me everything.
And is he still trading now? Is he still going?
Yeah, he's still going. He's been tattooing probably 20 plus years. He's had that studio in Leighton for a long time, and he's still going. But a lot of the best people have worked at his studio. Not many people know about, like Cardwell and Cat from Hello Sailor. So many people have been through his studio at one point or another, whether it's just he's taught them or it's been a little bit of a stopgap while they've studio hopped or opened their own studio. So the man's just full of endless knowledge, and I'm just so grateful.
So if you were there for 4 years, because the thing is, you can be like there's tattoo artists all over the world that are class tattoo artists, but you're an entrepreneur. You're not just a tattoo artist, because you've then got this place. You've got like the place over the road. You've got the barbers. Where comes the point where you go from being Danny Robinson, just a tattoo guy, to Danny Robinson, the businessman, and like, right, actually, there's not just me anymore. I want to bring more people in, and I want to have this, and I want to also do this and throw this in the mix. Where does that come in?
So originally, like for the majority of the 4 years at Mods and Rockers, I was content there. I was happy paying my rent, not having the stress of bills and stuff like that. And then I come across a video on YouTube. I used to listen to a lot of like podcasts and stuff back then, and came across a guy called Tony Robbins, and he just blew my mind in terms of how much you're capable of doing, and if you don't give stuff a go, it's just a waste of a life. You can be so much better than what you are.
He's very Marmite, Tony. Actually, I love him.
Yeah,
but he's very Marmite.
Yeah, do you not like my wife? Don't really like him. I don't
think many people's wives like him.
Because if you're not in that world, to look at it, it's very cult-like.
Yep.
And he upsells a lot. And I've been to see him live, and I think it was like £3,000 I spent going to see him. It's a lot of money.
Did you take value away from it?
I took value away from it. Yeah, I did. And like I kept upgrading, because at first my ticket was like 800 quid, and then it was an email like, there's an upgrade here if you want to. And I looked at the
started like 30
plan.
Quid. You're sat on his lap through the whole thing.
Yeah, he held me for an hour.
You're massive, like you're in the palm of his hand. Like.
Yeah, he held me, mate. Yeah, so I upgraded because I looked at the seating plan, and there was 12,000 people there, and I had I think it was like a solitaire ticket, which is like in the gods. And I was like, if I'm spending this money and I'm only probably going to see him once, I'm going to make sure I'm got like the best seats I can. Yeah. Anyway, I'd like the second to best seats you can get. I was like 7 rows from him, and I was at the back of this row, and like he's walking past, and he's such like a big figure. And
people say about like his aura, his presence. You can.
We were there. You got there about 8 o'clock in the morning. The first night we left at 11 o'clock at night. Right, and to keep someone, I don't know if you've ever done public speaking or anything, I haven't, but to keep someone engaged for that long is mind-blowing.
Of course.
And the way he did it and manipulated it was fantastic in terms of like, if he saw, so for example, I clocked it, so he's walking behind me and speaking to the next row of people, and there was one guy that was just like a bit like slumped, just like looked knackered.
Yeah.
And he clocked him, and went, right, and when his hands go up, fucking music, it turns into a rave. And when that happens, you've got to get up and just fucking get the energy going and the blood flowing. And it's like, fucking hell, he's wired again for so long. It's just, and he's clapping, and he's just like, it was mint. I thought it was fantastic. And it was 5 days that. And then, so we thought it was like winding down at like 9 o'clock. And he said, I've got a little surprise for you before you go. Everyone welcome Will.i.am. Fucking Will.i.am turns up, and he just gets on the stool and they start having a chat, and then Will.i.am does an hour set after it, and it was just like fucking mad. And then at certain points he comes out with water guns and starts soaking everyone. It was just weird, and now I can understand. Like talking about it now, I'm like, that's fucking insane. But it was mint. I buzzed off it. Absolutely, I did, and it just made me engage more with him and listen to his stuff more, because I'm like, I've been there. We did the firewalking thing. I don't know if you've heard of that with Tony Robbins.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I've seen videos of it, and I've heard about it. Like, what did you actually do it?
I did it with Tony Robbins, right? So you go outside, and there's just lines of it sounds so mad. There's just lines of burning coal, right? And it's red. You can see it. Just Google it. There's the video of Oprah Winfrey doing it with him, and it's pitch black. And you can hear the speakers outside, and you can hear him, and he's going, right, everyone. And he taught us all this priming at the start of the day. And anyway, I'm in this queue, and there's like 7 people in front, and I was like, it looks like him. Like, I thought, is he there? And he was on the row I was on. So I got to like fucking high five and shake his hand, and I was like, oh mate, thank you so much. I wasn't going to just start like telling him my life story, but because he had time for it. But I was like, thank you so much for everything. He was like, right, get ready, and then he went, go, and just walked across this fucking coal. Like, it was just mad, but I was in the mindset where I was like, I didn't feel a thing until I got off, and the crew grab you and they hose your feet down so there's no cold or anything on them. And I was like, I felt immense because it was teaching you of instantly getting into a mindset where you need to take action and you just do it there and then. So like, they built up, you get to the call and you're like, right, I'm going to go for it. And you just, without hesitation, just do it.
Well, you do ice baths, don't you?
Yeah.
So Al's only dropped it in because I was like, oh, bullshit. That.
Oh, yeah,
like,
that actually
no,
is that.
wrong. I do them. But I didn't say it like that. But like, that's the same sort of mindset in it. Whereas the first few times I did it, I was like trying to G myself up and I was like, right, I'm going to get in a minute. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to do it. And then you're trying to, whereas the times I get in them now, I just go over, walk over, get straight in. I'm like, oh, you're done. And it's easy.
Yeah.
Whereas that's like a mind over matter sort of thing.
Yeah. The ice bath is, I was the same even after all that. When I first got the ice bath, I was dreading doing it. And then every morning, then I was just doing it. It was just take the lid off. Right, get in. Oh, I'll take me an inhaler first because fucking hell, the first time I never took my inhaler. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get out. My chest was so tight because it just takes your breath away, doesn't it? But the reward after it, is it dopamine? There's a statistic in there about how compared to like cocaine, the dopamine hit of an ice bath compared to cocaine is like exceeds it.
Oh,
it's like,
it doesn't shock me though because when you get in it, don't get me wrong, like the time when you're in there, you're like, oh, this is like, why am I doing this? And then when you get out of it, you're like, you feel this like euphoric feeling. Red raw. I'm walking around like a back garden in my underpants. Do you know what I mean? Like feeling like the man. My neighbour's there, and I'm like, hey mate. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, the feeling's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I try to say to people all the time, like my missus, she was dead against it. Not against it, like she wasn't like, no, you're not having ice baths, but like she was like, no, it's not really my thing. I took her to a place in Lancaster where you do like the infrared sauna and the ice bath. Yeah, she fucking loves them now as well. It's like that sense of like uses that.
If you do that at the start of the day, right, no one wants to get in an ice bath any morning. So if you've done that, you've just tackled one of the probably the most annoying, biggest thing that will happen that day to you. So if you've done that, anything else seems a piece of piss. You know, like putting them posts on Instagram, like a bit of a tedious job. You're like, fucking piece of piss. I've just got in an ice bath this morning.
I've already achieved more than most people would in this. Well, that leads me on quite nicely then. So you're obviously like anyone looking in, you're successful. You've got multiple businesses. I know I've got other ones like e-com business and stuff I want to ask about later. But one thing I always try and ask anyone is, I'm trying to find like the blueprint. I'm trying to take pieces from every person I speak to who's a high performer. Can you take me through? Do you have a daily routine that you do every day that you think might have that something might be so simple that you do every single day, but it might have a massive effect on making sure you're high performing throughout the day?
I have the same. I get up, so the alarm's set for 6 o'clock. I'd be lying if I said I got up exactly at 6 o'clock every morning, but the alarm is set for 6 o'clock. I was, a bit ago, I was getting up and going straight to the gym, doing a workout. I had a personal trainer. I was going with my mate, so we was doing that. So by the time like 7 o'clock had hit, I'd done a PT session, and I was at Ribby Hall. I'd done my workout, and then I would do 15 minutes in the sauna, and then cold bucket, shower, and then I'd get to work that early and crack on. I'm always first in the studio. Love that. Whether it's doing my cleaning jobs, we all have just done a new cleaning schedule. I made sure I'm on there to lead by example. I make sure I get the content on for the morning, film content if I need to, whether it's just the same shit but different angles of I put one up today, my setup of my studio, my bed, and put my inks out and stuff like that. Get all that done, make sure my designs and stuff are always done a week in advance at least, because I don't...
For the tattoos that you'll be doing?
I know most artists will you'll turn up and then they're like, right, what do you want? And then they'll design it there and then. I just can't work like that. I have to make sure even my stencil's done. So when my client's in at 10, 11 o'clock, within 15 minutes of them walking through the door, they've got the stencil on and I'm ready to tattoo.
Well, I sprung it on you about this tattoo and you was like, all right, send the design over. Come in, you was like, right, there's all your sizes.
We did it there.
Before I'd even known, I was like, oh, finished. Start the pod. Do you know
I just try and, for me, it's like, I like, what am I trying to say here? I like my customer to be in and out, in respect.
Yeah, of course.
Be in and out as quick as possible.
Their time is just as important as yours.
Exactly. It's not just my time. For me, I don't price my work really now on day sessions, because some days I have slow days, some days I have fast days. Yeah. So I just do it per session. So it could take me 3 hours to do a tattoo, it could be 6. It's probably going to be 3 now because a bit of a machine when it comes to it. And they're paying the set price, so it doesn't matter if we finished early or not. You're coming in, you know what you're getting, whether you're done in 3 hours or 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever, you're leaving. So my aim is just to be, and plus my back can't take it anymore, and my patience in terms of like, you've got to be very patient to be a tattooist, but like my back will start niggling me at like the 3-4 hour mark, and then I'm forever breaking, and I'm conscious like I'm pissing my customer off having breaks all the time. So I'm just trying to, you know, get them in and out as quick as I can, but with but exceeding their expectations at the same time. So yeah, I do that work, and then I'll go home and answer all the messages and stuff because I've run the Facebook page and the social medias for the guys here, so I do all their messages, which is pretty nice stuff.
Sorry, touching base on what you said before as well, like, so the fact that I'm a massive believer in, like you said, lead by example, lead from the front. Don't ask people to do things that you'd never do, all that sort of stuff. Has that been something that you've had to teach yourself how to do, or has it always come like quite natural, do you think?
More natural, I think. I've always just done it. When I worked for Bob at Mods and Rockers, I used to always make sure that shot was spotless before he got in because of the respect I just had for him. That was just how I just did it. I was just forever grateful that he gave me the opportunity. And for me, I never wanted him to lift a finger when he got in the studio. I wanted him to just tattoo, and I had a coffee ready for him, decaf with his sweeteners and everything. I used to make sure of it was. But when it's come to my own studio, I've never expected anyone to do that for me. I think it's because I'm just too OCD with things. If you look at how things are laid out, like my inks, they're all in a perfect line. Yeah. My drawers are all perfect. I don't really like people touching my stuff, if anything. Like my latest apprentice has just been teaching her how to like set up my station, but I'm like, don't worry about setting up my station. I like to just do it myself anyway, but I've just let her do a few just to get practice with. But I've just always been very respectful of other people, and I've always tried to, whether it's family or like maybe going back to the old guys in my, in my neighbourhood growing up, I've always just wanted to show them respect and try and just be nice. So yeah, I think
like what you said there, the lead by example. Like, I don't think you obviously there's certain people that can run things like a dictatorship where it's like, no, you do as I say. And don't get me wrong, some of those people can be successful, but I feel like what you've done with Checkmate. So like I get tattooed by Stacey, who's one of your artists, and I feel like the culture across, it's hard to replicate culture in different buildings, if you know what I mean.
Very hard, yeah.
Whereas I feel like you've done that really well. And listen, I'm on this podcast, I'm like, I call a spade, I'll call it out the way it is. Everybody I've spoke to as well, especially over there as well, is like got nothing but good things to say about you. Do you know what I mean? So like, I think how do you think you've been able to build this to be the success it is today? Like let's say for example, someone watching this is like, right, do you know what? I think I've got the right traits to be a great business owner in the tattoo industry. What traits would you look for? What advice would you give someone like that if they were going to open a business like that?
I think, especially in the tattoo industry, because it is so crowded, you've got to be a good studio owner and a very good person. Because if you're, I'm not dissing my mentor in the slightest, but he never touched shit. He was an older boy, he was a biker. You just didn't mess with him. Yeah. And luckily I never had a run-in with him or anything like that. But I've seen him do that with staff. Yeah. If that happened this day and age, it probably wouldn't last too long because there's so many other studios to go to. You'd be like, I'm not being spoken to like that. Yeah. So it's finding that balance of being a good boss. I don't even call myself a boss. I fucking hate it. I just don't. Like, I'm no one's boss. They're all self-employed anyway. But I treat everyone with respect. All I ask for is just keep the place tidy and just be nice to people, nice to the clients or whatever, because, you know, if you're an arsehole, people don't necessarily slag you off, they'll slag the studio off. So always bear that in mind. And like I say, just treat the artist with respect. If they're struggling or they're struggling paying rent or certain factors, I'll just let them off. I'll support them, you know, have a couple of weeks where just earn what you can, don't pay rent. I'm probably as chilled as you will get. To say we've got, and maybe if I'm being a bit big-headed, I think we've got probably the nicest, probably biggest studio in Blackpool with, in my opinion, the best artists. We've got some incredible artists. Yeah. And everyone that's worked here has been here a long time. Like Sam the barber, he's been here over 7 years. Christy's been here nearly 7 years. They've all been here years because they don't have to tiptoe around me. I'm just literally like one of them. I just own the place. That's all it is. And if I want them to feel comfortable, if they've got any issues or any problems, they can just tell me. I'm not going to be, if they've done something wrong or I think for me, I just couldn't be any more chilled. And I think that's what's worked for me because I'm just nice to them and supportive, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
You want to see him, and from the conversations that we've had, and from even like the conversations I've had with your staff prior to us even knowing about doing the pod, you just want what's best for your team.
Yeah.
Like, you'll advise them, you'll help them.
Yeah.
The one that I loved as well was that before I even had ever spoken to you before, was when I was getting tattooed by Stace, and one of the lads came in and was like, Danny's giving me this posting schedule and how to grow my Instagram following and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, oh, that's sick. And he was like, yeah. And he was showing me, and I was like, see, it doesn't cost anything to help people and support people out. Whereas what a lot of bosses, like I said, this is the thing, you said you're not a boss. No, you're not a boss, you're a leader. Because a lot of bosses would say, I'm not giving you the tools on how to do what I do. You just do what I tell you to do, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas you're actually, in theory, showing them like, you could actually achieve this and do this yourself just by following these basic things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a massive credit to you, first of all, because it shows what sort of person you are.
Yeah, thanks.
And it shows why you've got staff that are so loyal and have been with you so long.
Yeah, I'm just transparent with everything as well. Like, I don't hide things. I'm just transparent. Like, if we're having tough weeks, I'll tell them like, fucking, this has been a shit week. This and like, there's been moments. It's not always been rainbows at the studio in particular, because we was over the road for 2016. I bought this place because I went over there. We bought this in 2022, and I never realised the challenge I had on my hands in terms of the finances of this place, because it went to auction, and I'll wind back a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
So I wanted a bigger premises, basically, because we'd outgrown there. I felt like everyone was on top of each other, and I didn't want people thinking, I'm paying this and I've hardly got any room and stuff that. Yeah. So I was like, well, we need a bigger place. And then the guy who had this was a laundrette for 51 years, and the guy who had this unfortunately passed away, and his wife, she didn't know anything about the business side, and she wanted rid. And one of the staff came over, because the staff had been here years, like 20 odd years, 30 years, the staff here. They came over and said, Dan, do you want to buy a laundrette and keep it going? I was like, why do I want a laundrette? I don't know how to run a laundrette. I don't know what I'm doing. I said, no. And then I thought, I could have actually bought, and at the same time, because I've been over here a few times, I was like, the place is not fit for a tattoo studio. I didn't realise the back bit, which you've seen before.
Huge.
I didn't realise that. And then this place is unrecognisable. There was a big boiler there. There was washing machines absolutely everywhere. And I was like, it's just no way I could turn that into a studio. And then Sam came over and said they got a company in to get rid of all the washing machines. And Sam come over and said, have you looked through the windows at how big that place is?
Who's Sam? Is this?
Sam, sorry, is the barber who I've had for...
Right,
he's been here 7 years, but he's been cutting my hair since I was 14. So it's so sick. Like, he's working here, and he's literally one of our good pals. So anyway, so he said, have you looked through the windows and how big it is? And I looked through the back. I was like, holy shit, that'd be great for the tattoo bit. We could turn this into barber and stuff. So auction sign went up on here, and I was like, shit, it's going to auction. So I looked into it. When stuff goes to an auction, you've got to complete and have the money in place within 29 days or something like that, within a month. And I was speaking to the owner, May. I said, is there any chance you can take it off auction? I'll buy it. I just need time to get a mortgage in place. She went, no, you had your chance. It's going to auction. You have to fight for it there. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, this could get expensive, this. So they had an open day. And
I think it's with auctions as well. I was speaking with my business partner about this the other day. It's like, if you bid on it, it's like, you are fucking liable. It's like,
man, if you can't
get the mortgage within that period of time, it's like, no, you have to get the cash.
Yeah, it's not, because you will never get a mortgage within 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's pretty much impossible unless you've had something weighed up for a long time, which you're not guaranteed to win an auction. But so she said, no, it's going to auction. You have to speak to them. I'm having nothing to do with it. I was like, oh my God, I've blown it here because of, I don't know, I've just blown it. So I came to the open day, and there was quite a few people here, and there was, because because it was a flat upstairs, and there was a guy who just makes Airbnbs, and he was going around going, "There's 3 Airbnbs. This could be one. The back's one. There's a separate door for that." I was like, I've got no chance of getting this. And the auction guy, I said, "How much do you think this is going to go for?" He said, "It'll clear 150. This." I was like, oh, fuck's sake. She only wanted 120 grand for it when I spoke to her originally. So I was like, "Oh shit." And I said, "Is there any chance you can speak to her and just say like, Danny, you know, is there any chance you'll take it off?" Cut long story short, she said, "If you pay for the fees, I'll take it off auction. You can have it for 120. I was like, the guy was like, "I cannot believe she's done that. She would have got 150, but she said she wants you to have it because she knows you look after your shops, and it's what Ralph would have wanted, who had this business for so long, because it's 50 odd years, a long time."
Yeah.
So it worked out really well. So I had to get a fucking bridging loan out. So then it came to like, shit, I need to find this money.
Yeah.
Right, so I had to put, I think I had to put 30 grand within 24 hours to secure it.
Yeah.
Then I had to find like 90,000 to buy the thing.
Yeah.
So I got a bridging loan. Meanwhile, that was £1 a month interest. It took me 9 months to get a commercial mortgage on it in the end. So I spent 9 grand just bloody
On nothing. Yeah.
Just on interest. And then I got one of my clients he was doing the construction job on it, and he was like, "This is a bit," because for what I wanted, because there was walls everywhere, I wanted stuff down, and then like the steel's having to get put in. It was just like COVID happened, the price of steel, everything was. And then
So was this pre-COVID or post-COVID?
Just post, sorry. It was post-COVID, but you know when everything had heightened, and my client, I really wanted him to do it, but they don't do stuff like this. They literally build houses from scratch, so this is nothing for them.
Yeah.
So, and he basically said, if you want us to do it, it's going to cost you. You know, we'll have to put a premium on, and it's a big job. And then we discovered asbestos, and it was like, I got someone in for asbestos. It was £8 we got quoted to just get rid of the asbestos, and it was nothing more than that wall there.
Is that what you had to pay?
Yeah, so we had to get all that sorted, and it was just issue after issue. Like the back bit, the extension with the where we tattoo now, the floor level was out by a brick's worth from one end to another. So it was just sloped to shit, and then the tile guy would refuse to. He said, "This has got to be reconcreted." So we had wagons, like Arctics, pulling up at the side, putting like a hose through the back door, filling it with concrete and screeding it. And then I was getting paranoid that because I could touch the ceiling when I'm in there, and I was like, "How? It's getting higher and higher and higher."
Yeah, so you're gonna be like this near the end of it.
Tattooing. Oh man, it was just like all the piping was knackered. I'll have to show you pictures, mate. Everything was back to the joists had to be removed because they was all rotted.
Yeah.
And then, well, you know, it was about 100 grand that we spent just kitting it out, doing the construction on it. That was without buying it, pretty much. And at the time, I didn't really have that money. So,
of course.
Because I put a lot of it in the deposit, I was paying them interest, and then I was working as much as I can. So everything I was earning, it was coming here. I remember sitting with my wife saying,
But I'd say you weren't married at this point either.
No, I wasn't married.
Were you engaged?
No, we weren't engaged.
Oh, right.
No, we weren't engaged.
You didn't have the pressure of having to pay for a wedding as well.
Was
then
we
at that point?
engaged? Shit.
I've got it on my notes.
I can't remember.
Somewhere on my notes there.
Maybe we were, but
If you're running a business and you're still overpaying on your card payment processing fees, it's time to fix it. At A2B Payment Solutions, we guarantee businesses like yours are saving on the payment processing costs. If you're looking for full transparency and a business that you can trust, then head over to www.a2bpayments.co.uk or drop me a message directly and I can see exactly where we can add value to you and your business. Let's get back to the pod.
I was like, I'm going to have to sell my car and shit, because I've never had anything. My mum and dad have always brought me up, like, if you can't afford it, you don't buy it.
Yeah,
the only debt you should have is your mortgage. And that's what I had, that's what I live up to this day. I've never, like my car, I just bought my car. So I was weighing stuff up, like I literally had writing things down, like, I'm going to have to sell my watch, sell my car, because there's no way I'm going to afford this. And I don't do things by half.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure, like,
It's
they were like, we'll just laminate it, or vinyl your floors. Like, no. I just want tiles. I've always wanted tiles in my studio.
Yeah.
Somehow I pulled it off and just worked extra hard and just worked more and just I paid for it without having to sell anything. Thankfully, in the end.
Well, it's unreal, and like I said, you obviously I know you are proud, but it looks sick. Like downstairs is unbelievable. Like obviously on the behind the scenes we'll show like whilst I'm getting tattooed downstairs, because I walked in and was like, shit, it's massive in here anyway. And then when you actually lead down to the back, it's fucking
That's
huge.
what I love about the fact of when people come in and like, okay, I didn't think it was this big. I was like, we haven't seen downstairs.
Yeah,
you
it just
you
looks
just
like
say this is
a
big.
little corner bit, doesn't it? That's
Yeah,
what I thought. It was just
it goes
like
all the way down the
section.
road. And then plus there was a garage on top of the extension, which we knocked into that. But yeah, leading back onto like the transparency with my guys, I was like, I'm not saying these figures and what stuff costs to impress you or show off.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest when I'm like, I do appreciate you guys working hard, because your commission or your rent is literally covering the mortgage and the bills on this, because it's a fortune to keep going and keeping that shop open. Like it was getting to a point where I was like, do I just shut that because I'm paying rent on there and just try and get as much in here as possible to make it worthwhile? But at the same time, I'd rather everyone be happy and have their own space and monetize it as much as I could. Is it bad business? Probably, but I'm more about keeping, arses on seats and making sure the staff are happy.
And it's your brand. Do you know what I mean? It may not be making.
I'm paying the mortgage off as well. There's not much. I don't know what mortgage is left on it, but it's me. I'm seeing this as my retirement, really. So in a few years, hopefully it'll pay for itself, and it's an asset.
Sick.
Yeah.
Well, a bit of what I'll lead on to is right. So you've been on multiple different TV shows. I wanted to, before I go into that though, right? Was it like? Did you want to be like famous?
No, not at all.
So how did this? No. Can we go into like how it came about then? Like, because you're on. Was it 4 in the bed? Can I speak about that?
No, you can say it, but I'm not going to talk much about 4 in the bed because that was just weird. But cut long story short, I was doing some marketing for a guy. It was 2 guys. They were business partners, and they had a restaurant in town. They had a hotel. And one of them wanted to go on this 4 in a bed, and the other business partner didn't want to do it. And he said, "Do you want to do it?"
Right. So
he said, "Do you want to come on?" I never even worked in the hotel, so when 4 in a bed, I'm there like serving breakfast and stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. Someone asked for Earl Grey tea. I never heard of Earl Grey tea. I call it Earl Green or something. I was like, "So I don't drink hot drinks." So yeah, I did that. It was pretty fun, but I don't know if it came off in the best of light, because the guy I went on with, he was he was gay and he was older, and it looked like I was his rent boy, basically. Just so someone rang my mum up and went, "I didn't know Daddy was gay."
Just to clarify,
just clarify,
he wasn't your pimp. So.
No. But looking back, he probably was grooming me a little bit, because he was like, I remember he giving me a credit card. He went, "I want to make sure you're in brand new clothes on every day of this filming." So he went, "Here's my credit card. Go to TK Maxx. I want you in Ralph Lauren and whatever any design. I want you to look the parts. People think the hotel's the part." I was like, "Oh, fair enough." Yeah.
Yeah.
Spent loads of it. Yeah. Maybe he was probably a bit of a sugar daddy or something like that then. Yeah. Got me some free
Play
clothes.
game change. Just send me some pictures of your feet as well, Danny. You've got a few minutes as well. So that was the first one then. So
yes, that was the first one, which I don't go into, which I know I just have done then, but yeah, it's not something I'm proud of. But the MTV thing, that came about in 2016, 8 years ago.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be longer than 8 years ago. But so what had happened was I'd just signed the lease for that shop, and as much as I thought, I was wanting my own studio, I was a bit nervous about doing it, because I enjoyed where I worked.
Yeah.
It was a big thing for me getting my own shop. Like I say, no one in the family's ever done it. I didn't really know too much what I was doing. Fortunately, my mentor helped me, gave me advice where needed. But yeah, I was umming and ahhing if I'm going to make a success of my own studio. And then literally within a few days of getting that, signing the lease for that, I got a call off MTV. It was just out the blue. And it was a girl. She said, "I'm Natasha, I'm casting for an MTV tattoo show. We've seen you on Facebook," because my social media following was quite big on Facebook back then, a lot stronger than Instagram. And she said,
"Did you post on Facebook and that like quite
I was
a lot
big.
from?"
So I'd do 3 tattoo giveaways like every 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and to enter, it was to get people to share and like my page. So I had like 20,000+ on Facebook. But back then,
Facebook was like
that compared to how my quality of work, it was just it wasn't, because my quality of work wasn't amazing, but it was a big deal. So I thought it was a prank at first. So I was like, yeah, nice one. Nearly hung up.
Yeah.
And then she said, no, seriously, it's there's no name for it. She said the premise of the show is people are going to come on in pairs, like mum and daughter, and they're going to pick tattoos for each other. It's going to be like a light-hearted thing. I was like, that sounds pretty good, actually. So
Little did you know.
yeah, shit would hit the fan. She said, can you come to London? Oh no, can you do a Skype interview with the boss of the company? So MTV don't make the show. Gobstopper TV was just a freelance company that made the show. So I had a Skype interview with the casting agent and this guy from the owner of Gobstopper, and they liked me. They said, yeah, you've got a good personality, you'd be good for it, can you come to London and see how comfortable you are on camera? I was like, yeah. So I went to London, did an on-camera interview, and then they said, right, we'll be in touch. I was like, oh, okay. And that was it. It's like things went quiet for a long time.
Did you forget about it?
I just thought, that was a waste of time. And then I was in America tattooing, like living my best life.
But I say this is cool as fuck. So it's like, oh yeah, so yeah, then I was just in America tattooed, you know what I mean? And then MTV ring me. So,
it does sound like it.
Who are you tattooing in America? Can we?
I was working for I was doing like consultancy work for a Chinese manufacturer of tattoo equipment, and
see, that's cool as fuck though. Can we speak about that? Like that's
yeah. So I was buying my stuff off this company on eBay. I was still, even after years, I was still buying tattoo stuff off eBay, which was pretty wild because I was earning all right money and still. Anyway, so I had an issue with something I bought, so I messaged the company. It was something to do with the machine, and for me, it just didn't sit right. What components they used for this particular machine. So I messaged them saying like, have you thought about using like a brass frame? And I just went into it, and I just got speaking to these guys. And cut long story short, I got speaking to the owner. They flew me out to China to like go around the factory and look at all the tattoo equipment and design. I designed my own machines in the end, and we sold thousands of them.
Under your name sort of thing.
Yeah, they were literally Danny Robinson machines, and they had.
That's cool as fuck.
Yeah, my granddad's tattoo that he had on his hand on the coils. So his design, it was on the coil wraps, and it was engraved on the brass, and then it had my name. And they were sold worldwide. There was in America. If you go on YouTube and put in Danny Robinson tattoo machines, there's like American tattooists reviewing them and saying like how good they actually are, because they were like very high quality, but they were cheap, so budget friendly. It was untrue, like it's unheard of now, really. Like from being deep down.
Do you not have any like knocking about? Like, do you not have one like at home?
I've got them in there. I've got a few of my machines in there, but my first one, I gave it my granddad when he went. I left it with him, so it's going with my granddad. So yeah, that was. So that's where the first one is. But there's quite a few of them over there. I've got a couple here, but mainly all my stocks over there for the machines. So yeah, and then they started doing really well. They were paying me £500 a week just to be there to advise them, which was class.
What? I take it was like expenses paid for as well.
Then when I went to China, they would pay for everything. Yeah, but like when I was back at home, sometimes I wouldn't even hear from them for a while. And they would still
paying you £500 a week when you're back in the UK.
Yeah,
you're just like, oh, so like,
from the start to finish, I did about a year with them, and it was like 25 grand. Like just literally £500 a week. It was just mad. And I'd like to say I did add value to them. I helped them. There was a lot of things like a lot of stuff comes from China, but some stuff comes and you're like, that's fucking Chinese.
Yeah, it's crap.
And some stuff comes, you're like, oh, what a mint brand that is. Look at this, a big name in tattooing. And I'm like, I've been to the factories, because I went to all the factories when I went to China. And I was like, oh my God, I use this brand. They're made in China.
Yeah,
and it was like, and there was brand, same factory. It's just like it is over here, you know, you Lidl stuff and you all same stuff. But it just amazed me. So then they started tackling America. They started launching in America, and they wanted to become more like westernized.
Yeah.
So I was helping them a bit with that, and then they did a tattoo convention there to show their products off, and they flew me out there to tattoo it on their stand with all the equipment. So that was absolutely class. And the guy
was like famous tattoo artists at the convention.
I've never been so intimidated in my life because it was Los Angeles. There was loads of Chicano tattooists, like topless, heavily tattooed faces and stuff like that. and I'm just rocking up like a little
Yeah.
British lad. And I had my banner and I put the British flag on it, and I was like, oh, I didn't do that. But it was the best thing I did, you know.
Did it work?
I got
Yeah.
booked up for the whole convention within like the first hour of the convention opening because they saw the British flag. They're like, Jesus Christ, oh yeah, you're British, we love the British. And all
Cups of tea? All that shit.
What's your cup of tea?
Yeah.
And then all the Chicano tattoos, they were coming over, and I was like, whoa, do you know what I mean?
Chicano tattoos?
You
Is
know,
that
like a typical gangster tattooist with a bull head, Mexican type
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that do all the Chicano graffiti stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
They were there, like big handlebar moustaches, them
Yeah,
type.
yeah.
Yeah, and everyone just so nice. It was mint. So yeah, and I stayed at his house because he moved to LA for like a while to get everything set up.
Is this the guy whose company?
The Chinese guy, yeah. So he said, "You can stay at mine if you want, or I can book you a hotel." I was like, where have you booked? Like, where are you renting? He showed me a massive mansion on like top of a drive, and I was like, that is sick. And he went, look at the view, and his view just overlooked Los Angeles. I was like, jeez. But anyway, going back, I was sunbathing in his garden in Los Angeles. My phone rang, and it was MTV. I was like, fucking hell, I thought that was gone. And they said, yeah, sorry, we've not been in touch. We didn't really tell you. TV stuff's really slow from getting an idea to it could be years. So I was like, fair enough. Anyway, we've got some good news and bad news. I was like, what's the bad news? They went, they said they were going to do a pilot.
Right.
Yeah, we found out about the pilot, and then they said, the bad news is MTV is scrapping the pilot. They don't want to do it. I was like, oh, fuck's sakes. Well, what's the good news then? They went, they're just going to go for it and do a series and fund it and scrap the pilot. They've got faith in it. So I was like, oh, right. I went, am I on it? They went, yeah, you're on it. I was like, sick. So they went, right, we'll send you over some dates to work out in advance so you can rearrange your clients and that. And then you'll come to London. It'll be 3 to 4 weeks. We'll need you in London for. And we're gonna go for it. So I was like,
This
brilliant.
must have been like surreal that a few years ago you'd not really known what you were doing. You was like, you'd been doing bits of tattooing, you were getting called in by like the
Council,
the
health and safety and all that.
Now you sat in LA in this mansion overlooking this view like a sun lounger.
Oh, man.
With some obviously rich guy.
Yeah.
You've just tattooed loads of people at a convention in America. And you let on. I can just imagine it. Like, let on the sun lounger in the sun. Your phone starts ringing. It's like, hello, it's MTV. Like, oh yeah.
I wasn't even going to answer it because I thought, am I going to get charged a fortune answering this phone call?
Imagine even you noticed it. Like, oh yeah. Dumb. Surely though.
It was
that must have
literally
been.
from tattooing in my bedroom to being in LA and TV was like 5 years.
That is insane. But this is the thing. I say this all the time, and this is what I spoke about you tattooing before. It's like you're so humble with it as well, but it's like you are the definition of like what I say about say less, what the brand stands for. It's like you focused on that and nothing else. Though I imagine was there probably quite a lot of sacrifice during that period of time, like in that 5 years where you didn't go out and do all the.
Oh
crazy...
man, I had no life. I honestly had no life. I was tattooing 6 days a week. I was always the first in the studio. Most times I was the last one in. I was cramming because the reason I got busy is because I was cheap but doing good work for that price.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is more of those tattoos in a day to make it a good wage, but everyone's saying go to Danny, he's cheap and he'll do this. So I was working long hours. I've never been like a party goer and stuff like that because I was involved in the nightclub scene from like college doing events and shit.
It's another bit I fucking forgot to ask you about as well, but we'll touch on that.
That was pretty cool. So yeah, I would literally go home and I was so what's the word? Very particular with money, as in like I never spent a penny. In terms of like, say if I went home, I had a little box, I put my cash in, I'd count my cash before I put it in. So say if I had £210, I would give myself that tenner.
Yeah.
I would never go below it. So there would be sometimes I would say no to going out for tea with my mate because I was like, I've only got 15 quid.
Yeah,
and I would have thousands saved up. He just couldn't get his head around it. But I was like, I am so obsessed with saving my money and making sure if I broke my arm or whatever, I'd be okay. And it was the same with COVID. When COVID happened, a lot of artists struggled. But I don't want to sound...
No, I was going to ask you about
like
COVID.
big-headed. Anyway. I could have not worked for a couple of years and been okay because I've just got nothing. I've got my mortgage to pay and that's it. we
You've
got
been
the grants.
cautious.
Yeah, I've been too cautious, if anything, because I've deprived myself of a good life in times. Because I've been so thingy with money, and I'm still like that to this day. Me and the wife will go do a food shop, and we're doing on this scan and go.
No,
and
Danny, I've got £13.80.
I'm going, how much are we up to? She's like, 96 quid. We're not going over 100 quid, I'm telling you now, we're not going over 100 quid, so you better get on the cheap jelly babies and chocolate.
the no makers, no, put them back.
I'm honest to God, man, I'm still as when it comes to the business, I'll put the money in, but my personal life, like, I don't, I'm not really too flashy. I like a nice car and a nice watch. That's it.
Yeah.
I had 2 nice watches. I sold one of them because I was like, I don't need 2 watches.
Yeah,
it's just
tell the time once. No, like a knob.
That's
Like a knob. But I get terrorised for all the times. I fucking well, let him have it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway.
I've always been very cautious. But yeah, so back onto the MTV stuff. We went down, and on the first day of filming. Sorry, not the first day of filming. We all had a big team meeting with production. All the artists met each other because that was a secret. They wouldn't tell us what other artists were on. I found out one of the artists because when I turned up for an interview, she was there, and she is a big time in tattooing. She's called Kelly Jo, and I've been following her for years. She tattooed Rihanna, her ex-partner. Mate, he's tattooed everyone you could think of in America, like The Rock. He's tattooed everyone.
Wow.
So when she turned up, I was like, no way.
Imposter syndrome.
I was thinking, I am nowhere near on this level. I was embarrassed. I was honestly embarrassed. Like, I'm not that good. And she was there. So I knew she was there anyway. So we turned up to filming on the first day, and they said, right, we've got the briefs in for your first tattoos. She said, Danny, Charles, one of the other tattoos, you're up first. You've got 2 cousins in. One of them's getting slut on her arse. And it needs to look like she's been branded with an iron. And we're like,
this is not what I signed up for.
You what?
Got told for a daughter, nice tattoos.
What the fuck am I doing if she's doing slut? And you need to do like an illustrative cartoon gorilla holding a big banana because she doesn't shave and it needs to be a bit cheeky and that. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how big are these going? Big on the arse for slut and as big as you can for the gorilla. And we all looked at each other like, where's the mums and daughters having nice little tattoos, reminiscing on holidays and stuff like that? It's like, this can't happen. So all the artists spoke to each other, and then the rest got the briefs, and they were just getting stupid. It was like, I remember saying, this is going to end our careers, if we do this. If we get, like, look at it from our point of view, if we saw some tattooists on a new show and they're tattooing that, what are you going to think of them?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we can't do it. So we had a meeting with them, was like, we're not doing it. They went, you're under contract, do you not read it? You've got to do these tattoos because we've got no backups. I was like, wow. Then I changed the mindset and I said to the guys, I was like, if we don't do them, some other tattooists are going to do them. They're going to be bad tattoos, but let's make them really good tattoos at the same time.
That's the leader mentality coming in again. Do you know what I mean?
If we do good tattoos, they can't slag us off. They can maybe say, we shouldn't have done it, but 9 times out of 10, the reverse story. So you'd feel bad for the girl getting slut, but she's putting a big gorilla and calling her cousin out. She doesn't shave. We had to change her mindset a little bit. When we got the stories of like couples going on and one was ruining the other and the other was doing something nice, that was when it was like, oh, this is harsh.
I've seen one where it's like, will you marry me? Not, or something like that. Like, and he's like proper pissing himself, and she's done a dead nice one for him, and I was like,
man, there's so many stories of that. There was.
What's the worst? Not worst. What's the one that stands out for you where you're like, God, that fucking like broke my heart, sort of thing? Like,
there's a few. I'll give you. So one of them was there's a guy who sleeps about, and his mate was outing him for it, and he wanted it to be a bit of a lesson and a deterrent. So what he did is in comic book writing, where it's like pow, big bright colours, bold letters, had all the STIs around him. So herpes, chlamydia, bro, they was dotted round his whole groin. Like there was that many. I had to do it with another girl. There was two of us tattooing him because there were so many. And he broke down in tears. Right? And I was thinking, do you know what? It's very funny. It's funny, but we've ruined that guy's life. Because how is he going to get rid of them? I know we're only doing our job, and it's on his mate. It's on your mate. We have to do him, but it's on your mate for doing that and thinking that's too far. One would have been all right, but there were 6. There were like 6 or 7. there was 6 or 7. So that sticks out in terms of the scale of it.
Yeah.
And how it sounds bad. How life changing that would have been for him. And then I did a dildo on a girl's thigh. A girl
what did the
finished
guy
the
with
partner.
the STI thing? What did he put back on his mate?
Do you know what? It's sick. It's one of the best tattoos. It probably was viral. Like this, Lab Bible shared a lot of our stuff, but it was him. It was a picture of him bent over, looking back, and his arsehole was his belly button. So the guy's belly button.
Was it his mate or was it the actual guy who was getting tattooed?
It was the guy. So the guy getting tattooed, it was his mate's face on him. And the funny thing is, my mate John was doing it. He was like, I haven't got a reference for this. I was like, I'll do it for you. So we're in the hotel room, and I bent over. I'm just in my boxers looking back at him, and he's just morphed the lad's head onto me.
So in theory, he's got Danny Robinson's torso.
He's got my arse, my legs, everything. I just didn't do the tattoos on it. So that was a bad one. But do you know what? In terms of, there was, at the time, I spoke to my dad. I was like, I think I've made a mistake here doing this. Because then I got another briefing. It was like, do a Tottenham badge on an Arsenal fan. I was like, oh my God.
It's funny,
then I was sadistically thinking, think of how viral this will go in the Tottenham supporters world and just online. And they went viral. The annoying thing is, like Lad Bible and that, never tagged me in them, so we never reaped the benefit of it really.
Annoying.
There's some naughty stuff, to be fair, with like in terms of like not, giving us like showing who did the tattoo or saying the name or whatever. I speak to the family thinking, I was like, I think I made a mistake doing this. And then we did the first series, and then it aired, and we were dreading it coming out, like looking on social media. I didn't have Twitter. Well, I did have Twitter at the time, but I didn't look actively. My dad was obsessed with it, like looking, seeing what people are saying and that. And hardly anyone said anything bad about the tattooist. It was all solely on the people getting it, like, oh, she's a bitch for doing that. I can't believe she's done that to her sister, her cousin, or whoever, a friend, which was a relief in the end. But it was, looking back, it was hard work because we had to be in London for like 3 or 4 weeks, and they didn't like you coming home, like getting a train in case something happened to you, and it would just knacker everything up. They'd just like wrap you in bubble wrap a little bit.
They just want you to stay there.
Yeah,
Did they house you and stuff down there then?
Yeah, they put us up in accommodation and stuff, and we got like food allowance every day. We had runners, so we had like assistants for you. Like, do whatever you want. I didn't like. I used to get my own stuff. I used to make the crew cups of tea and stuff. I was just so.
Is that not weird though? Was it not a bit like?
It was too much.
No, it's not for me. Like, no, you're Danny Robinson. Like, I'm supposed to be here for you. Like,
it was very weird. I didn't like it at all. But
you can see. I know. I don't mind saying, like, even talking about it, you can see how like uncomfortable it makes you. Like,
they did. It's just like.
You seem so grounded, like with.
Well, like, who am I to tell someone to get me a drink?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a tattooist. I'm not in Tom Cruise, but I can get my own stuff. It's fine. Like I would honestly, there's a point like one of the runners. I was getting their dinner from the van because.
I bet they had a lot more respect for you. Was there certain people? I can ask you if you don't want to answer. You don't have to. But it's like, was there anyone on there who was like barking orders at him, like thinking he was like
one of them? I won't say who it is. Will I? No, I won't say what it is. One of the tattooists, after the first season, she became a diva.
What she was like?
She wanted her own room and everything. She didn't want her own little room she could go in, and it was just a bit like. It wasn't Cali. I can't say it.
It's just, right, so it's
because
not the guys.
Because I'm still mates with, the ones I'm mates with know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And was like, who the fuck does she think she is?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, what, in her own room? And she was demanding longer, because we was only allowed 4 hours to do each tattoo. That was like our
slot.
which was
sort of thing.
which was fine with me. I could do big tattoos in less time. She started saying, I want more time. It's making me too anxious all this time, and I deserve this. I'm slower. I'm not as quick. And MTV just allowed it, so she got whatever time she wanted, and we still got the 4 hours because she started like, I don't know. I'm not accusing her or anything, but it was like first series she was fine.
Yeah.
Second series she
Went
now
to
wants
her
her own room, wants as much time tattooing, and
Did she get a bit of a following
wanted her own
online
fan.
and all that sort
You know?
of stuff? Or
Yeah. The numbers started coming in after the first season and stuff. So, I remember one of the girls, one of the parents came on another series, and she was because her tattoo went viral. She was demanding like her own runner and changing room and
someone who's coming on the show?
Yeah, someone who got tattooed, who's just got tattooed because her tattoo went viral. She had a woolly hat on that said "No Paps, please." I was thinking, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, Janice, with your Walker's packet of crisps on your thigh or whatever you got. This crap, like, who cares?
It was fucking, it was wild.
So on that show, though, so how many series did you do in the end?
Oh my God, it's gone for me. How many did I do? I did 4 out of 5, I think.
Wow.
Was it 5 out of 6? Shit. I think it's 4 out of 5. I cannot remember. It was 8 years ago, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was, because the money was all right. The first season I would have done for free because I thought this is priceless exposure. I've just opened a studio. This could be fantastic. This MTV, it was shown in 60 plus countries. It was translated in so many languages. So if you go on YouTube, you'll see me getting dubbed by a German guy. It's really weird.
I need to see it in like Korean or something. That's
so weird. With the mouth moving, different things with that. So yeah, I was like, the exposure of this is fantastic. And then, so I'd have done it for free, but they paid anyway, so it was like, that was a bonus. And then the money kept going up in each season. And then I think it was the 4th, it just hit a wall in terms of like, because it was, at the time, it was MTV's third highest rated show they'd ever done. Like, it was beating Catfish. It was just behind Geordie Shore, which is their holy grail.
Yeah.
So MTV were like, we need to keep making more of this and have it ready to go every few months. So then the budget started getting slashed because they were trying to just rinse it for what they could. They offered us less money, and then it got to a point where I just said, like, I'm done, because like my following's not going up anymore. It's the same shit. I'm neglecting my business for 4 weeks at a time. And I think we've got out of it as much as we can.
Yeah.
And so my friend Jodie, who I was close with, we always said if one of us doesn't do it, none of us are doing it, because we were pretty close. And then we left. And then they did one more season, and then it flopped. But when we left, the bosses at MTV rang me up and said, is there any way we can persuade you to come back for the 5th? Because I'd say me and Jodie were the biggest. It wasn't really about the tattooist anyway, but we had the most banter. I presented when Charlotte Crosby and Stephen Bear got tattooed. I was actually the presenter for the show with Jodie.
Because them two were they together?
Yeah, they were together, and then they decided to get tattoos for each other. So I hosted that. So we were the biggest probably personalities from out of the artists. So they said, like, is there any way we could keep? I said, well, give me some money, I'll do it. But I was like, I'm not being like a diva. I just want what I'm owed, because it's 4 weeks. There's no. I was like, what is your selling point for me to come back? I appreciate everything you've done, but it's done. It's run its course. Yeah. And the only way you're going to get me, I remember saying it because we ended up with an agent. I said, if they put me in a Bentley, I'll come and do it. And
I'm not being a diva, but
I'm not being a diva. But I really want this Bentley. It's the thing that's on my mind. I've always wanted a Bentley, and they couldn't meet the figures, and they said, we're sorry about that. We don't, no hard feelings. We've got an idea for another show. Where it's like the flip of just tattoo of us, and we want you and Jodie to do it, but we'll let you know more about that. So, never heard that again. Anyway, they rang up. Can't remember the time frame after it, and they said we're going to go ahead with the show, but we're doing it for MTV Digital, and it's not going to be anything like a major production. It's going to be like a 5-minute show that's going on MTV between adverts, and we'll do the analytics of it, and if it's getting good response and stuff online and social media, they've got to put it on YouTube. We'll back it for a series. Yeah. So we've got like a crazy aspect of tattooing, and then a nice one. And it was called positive inking. So it was totally opposite. So people would come on with life stories of. So it was mad. One of my mates ended up on it from when I was younger. His brother committed suicide, and he just turned up, and I didn't know. I was like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Coming to get tattooed." I was like, so we did. So the story behind that was they come on with their story.
Yeah.
We would design a tattoo for them, do it, and then they have a look at it at the end. They don't know what they're getting, but it would be nice. There was no stitch ups because it was just there were no pairings. And do you know what? It was so good. It was mint. If you go on YouTube, you'll have to go on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And put in Positive Thinking. It was filmed on Tattoo Fixers' set. It was just me and Jodie's show. It was a big operation. I thought this is it. I thought this is going to be the show because it will get a good response because it's good artwork. It's got awareness for like suicide. There was like a body shaming big woman on it, a big model. She was trying to bring out body positivity because she was getting bullied and that online. She had a big following. So it was like a cancer survivor. It was perfect. Honestly, it was just mint. It just spread awareness. Anyway, so what happened with that is MTV did like a big marketing strategy plan for it where they was going to release one every so often and then hype the next one up. And then it was MTV France or something. There's someone there released everything. And it just blew up and they just ruined it.
Released every episode.
Released every episode. Scrapped the whole marketing thing off. It just released it by accident, and it was up there for ages before it got pulled down, and it messed absolutely everything up. So they could never judge if it was worth because of how they do things.
Yeah.
They could never judge if it would have done well on TV.
Do you know the annoying part to that as well is, and this is one thing that I've spoke a lot about recently as well, is like, even though it's got all the factors of being such a good show, because it's positive, our day and age don't want to see that.
Yeah.
They want to see, like, if I put videos on now and the hook is positive, like something to draw people in that's a positive hook, analytics is shit on it. If I put something, like one of my highest performing videos is like, I literally had £0 in my bank account. People like, oh yeah, bet you did, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And that's one of my highest performing videos. I was like, I was broke, I had £0 in my bank account. That's one of my highest performing videos. Whereas ones where it's like, use these 3 tips on how to change your life. It's one of my fucking shittest videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people are probably more drawn to seeing people terrorize each other with tattoos as opposed to seeing positive stories on the back of it.
You're probably right. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah. I just selfishly really backed it because of how aesthetically it looked on camera. It just
looked good.
It looked really good. The story, I love seeing funny videos, a bit of drama and that, but I love seeing positive stuff as well. So me selfishly really wanted that to I'd have done anything for that to go ahead. But saying that, if it went on and they did a show or whatever, it might not have done well, and then I'd have been upset because I'd have felt like I failed. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Everything happens for a reason. But it didn't happen. But
that's not the end of your moving in those kind of circles. So the question I wanted to ask, obviously, I've been itching to ask more than anything. So correct me if I'm wrong, right? So you went on tour. How is this right? So you went on tour with Little Mix, is that right, or what? Yeah,
so they did a couple of days in Manchester, and I just stayed with them for a couple of days. I didn't.
What?
Did I go on tour? Because I only did Manchester. Do you know what? I say I went on tour.
Whatever, yeah.
Because the story behind that is
you've been with Little Mix for 3 days longer than I have. So yeah, classic is going on tour with them. Do you know what I mean?
For me, that outweighs everything. It was just the whole experience of that was incredible. So that happened because one of my good friends, Josh Schofield, his dad used to own Schofield's, the bar in town years ago.
Right.
Used to be a DJ. He became Little Mix's tour manager, and I was tattooing him at the time he got the news. I was like, that's fucking sick. He was just a DJ from Blackpool, and then got that. I was like, fucking good on you, mate. Anyway, I was tattooing him, and he's putting it on Instagram, and then Jesse from Little Mix messaged him saying, "Oh, get me in with your tattooist. That's class." And he was like, "Look at that, Jesse's message." I was like, fucking hell. I was just over there. I was like, that's fucking sick. Yeah, book it. I'll go now if you want it. And he's like, oh, sort it. And then I finished tattoo.
Do it now. Don't say we'll sort it, we can do it now.
I've always learned in stuff, nothing ever happens that quick. So I was just like, and I'm not one of them to be pecking.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, it does. I just think it looks more professional and more better if I don't look as keen.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I never heard anything for a while. I don't know what the reason were. And then he messaged me and said, Jade wants a tattoo. I was like, yeah, whenever, mate. Just let me know. He said, I'll put you in a WhatsApp group if you want with us. I was like, yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Like, yeah, just so you can back and forth. And then I was like, yeah, whatever. And then he went, I've give Jade your number. Just so it we used to. I've got enough on. I was like, all right. And then she messaged me on WhatsApp and said, hi, Danny, I'm after a tattoo. I want this on my foot. When can you do it? I was like, I'll go whenever. I was like, do you want me to come to you? She went, that'd be great. Because they're always busy. I was like, they're not going to come to Blackpool and get tattooed in a studio. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'll come to you. And she went, yeah, no worries. Just let me know when. Anyway, she booked my hotels, did everything for me. And I was speaking to her. We did this design. It was like a mandala Egyptian type thing on her foot because she's got Egyptian heritage. So I went down the night before, and then she messaged me saying, do I come to the apartment and go through the tattoo and size it up? And I was like, yeah. So I went. I was like, this is fucking mad. Went to her apartment, and it was just so. I've met celebrities and stuff on MTV and that, and I was like, she is a celebrity. I don't class reality stars as celebrities. Yeah. They're just, do you know what I mean? They're not talented, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? They just we can be funny on camera or whatever. She's a talented pop star. So anyway, she was just as sound as anything. And then we went through the design. I went back to the hotel and I went in the morning. And she was a little bit quieter in the morning. I thought, because she might be a bit nervous about the tattoo. And I was never one to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm tattooing you. I take a picture and all that shit. And her mum was in the apartment, and her mum is, she's so funny and just dead nice, but she won't take shit. She'll tell you how it is. And I went in the flat and she could tell, she was like, all right. I was like, yeah. Like, because she didn't want her daughter getting a tattoo. So I went, right, take your top off then. Do you know what? I went, you getting your back piece? She went, I'm not fucking getting the back piece, no, you actually bastard. And he just broke the ice. Right? And then whoever was all having a laugh, and it was just funny. And then, I did a foot, and do you know what? How long ago was that? Probably 4 or 5 years ago. But when I was tattooing her, she said, you should come on tour with us, it'd be great, and give all the dancers tattoos and stuff. I was like, that would be pretty sick, that, to be fair.
You twisted my arm, why not?
I'll see if I'm free. Yeah. But I said, if you're in Manchester, anywhere like Northwest, just let me know and I'll come. And her and Josh, my mate, they sorted it, and Josh messaged me saying, we're in Manchester on these dates, are you free? I was like, yeah, of course. And they booked me a room on their floor, so I was staying on the same floor as them. Like, I don't even think the dancers were staying in the same hotel as them. It was just really weird. And I was speaking to they all had their own bodyguards. And I was just like, I turned up and I was just chatting to them because they was like, who are you? And I was like, And one of them's Ed Sheeran's personal bodyguard. They were all like dead connected, but so sound, it was unbelievable. And they got me an access all areas pass. So it wasn't like, there's your room. They set me up a room next to their dressing room, the girls' dressing room. And they said, you set your stuff up in there. It was massive. I had showers in it, this room.
I think it's that bitch on MTV. I got my own fucking dressing room. You wanted one, I've got one next to Little Mix, mate.
my dressing room was better than the MTV. And then, so I did 56 tattoos in 2 days. Sick. On that tour. Literally tattooed every single dancer. Some of them had multiple tattoos and that. And then I did Jade. Jade got another one on her ribs. But we did that in my hotel room after the tour had finished, because it was dead funny. At the end of the first show, because I had this access all areas pass. No, at the start of the show, it's dead funny. I'm just wandering around, mate, with his little badge just nosying. And I saw one of the bodyguards, John, and I was just chatting to him. And then this guy comes up to me and goes, excuse me, who are you? What are you doing here? And the bodyguard went, who the fuck's that? I saw a fucking terrorist. Fuck off. I was like, oh, God.
I'm with this guy now.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, because I was like backstage, mate, like where the girls are and that, right behind the stage. And then my little pass got me to like at the Manchester Arena, there's like bollard bit where you can't go past, and I was in front of that, so just wandering around. I've got some great videos.
Mate, I like the timestamp thing. So from you buying that £30 tattoo kit to being backstage, access all areas, being Little Mix's tattoo artist, like how many years was that?
That'll have been 6, I think.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty random. But the funny thing Josh went, as the show was ending, he went, "Can you run?" Of course I can run. He went, "Get ready." I went, "Why?" As soon as the curtains shut, he went, "Run." I was like, "Whoa!" So I was just running after Josh. I was like, "Where the fuck are we going?" He went, Follow me. We just ran on this tour bus, and then the girls were there within seconds after me, and they just got on the tour bus and just left.
So you just got on the tour bus with them?
I went to Menarino on the tour bus. I never made my way there once. So I was I was on the tour bus, a big pink tour bus. I've got pictures of it. What? I got some great photos of me, like feet up and on the coach and stuff. Yeah. So I travelled there, and then I just came back with him. But it was just it was mad how quick from the show ending to they're gone.
Yeah.
It just made me think like, when people wait around for celebrities and stuff, I just think, they're probably never there. How quick they dart off is unbelievable.
Mad.
We just left. I did that and then went back and did it again the second day. And then ever since that, I tattooed at Perry's house. It was the Christmas after COVID, I think it were, because she was with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who played for Liverpool.
Yeah.
And his best mate lived with them in, it's like Cheshire way. So Perry messaged me one day and said, "Is there any chance you can tattoo Alex's mate? He's staying over with us." I was like, "Yeah, sound." Where do you want me to come to you? She went, "Yeah, if you could, that'd be great." I was like, "Fucking right, well, fucking massive house." Mo Salah lived a few doors down. De Bruyne lived round the bend, like all these celebrities. I never saw that. But I was like, fucking hell, and it beautiful house, absolutely beautiful house. Tattooed him. I'm trying to think of his bloody name. Anyway. And I've tattooed Jade multiple times now, and we see each other once a year because she does a fancy dress party for her birthday every year in December. So she has a theme every year, and she invites us to that every single year.
Sick.
And then on Boxing Day, she owns a nightclub in South Shields. She invites us to that. That's where like her personal friends and family go, and she shuts the club, and she invites us to that. It was funny. She invited us the Boxing Day just gone. I was really looking forward to it. We just bought a dog, and I said to the missus, like she messaged saying, "You come in on Boxing Day, Jade." She said, "You're going to come on Boxing Day?" I said, "Yeah, but I'll have to be in the dog, so I'll get an Airbnb because I don't want to give the dog someone on Boxing Day, and he'll be all right for a few hours." She went, "Yeah, bring the dog. We'll go out and walk the dogs because she's got a couple of rescues. South Shields is on that nice beachfront."
Yeah.
Anyway, got there and they double booked our Airbnb. So I rang Jade saying, "Do you know anyone with an Airbnb?" She went, "Oh, I don't." And she went, "You could stay with us, but I'm well allergic to dogs. My dog's hypoallergenic. I'm fine." So I was like, because I tattooed Jade at hers one Christmas and nearly had an asthma attack because I was allergic to her dogs. It was horrendous. So I was like, "I can't stay at yours." And yeah, cut long story short, couldn't find anywhere to stay with the dog. We found one place. And we turned up and it was a shithole. And I was like, "I can't leave my dog. He's only a little puppy." So we ended up bloody driving back. So we missed that one this year. But yeah, she's genuinely one of she's the nicest celebrity, people of that figure I've ever met. She's just so down to earth. And she's going out with Jordan from Rizzle Kicks. And I tattooed him as well one Christmas at Jay's mum's house. And, oh man, they are good guys. He's so cool, so chill. Doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs or anything now. He's all positive. Like he does some podcasts and stuff. He's got his own TV show. He's the both perfect couple. And she's just gone solo now, and she's absolutely smashing it. Jade.
Oh, class.
She's just launched her. She was going to come to our wedding, Jade, but she announced her single had debuted. You know, like you have to do all the marketing for the debut single. It was like the day of or the day after the wedding, so she couldn't make it. But one of the dancers in that came.
Sick.
He's class. He's been on tour with all the big dogs, and he came down and med the wedding. He was brilliant. Just came on his own. because he was touring with Girls Aloud. He said, I don't think I'm going to be able to make the wedding because I'm on tour. He messaged me, I don't know if it was the day before or a couple of days before the wedding, and he said, can I still come to the wedding? I'm not, I've got the day off, we're not doing the tour on that day. I was like, I've just done everything.
Yeah, everything's sorted, yeah.
But there was 2 random seats on the end of 2 of the tables. I was like, I went, you could bring a +1, but you wouldn't be sat together. He was like, mate, I'm going to come on my own. I said, I'm not going to miss your wedding. I'm not missing it. So he got the train down from London, and he came. But yeah, he was absolutely, mate, was sick. Really good people, and I couldn't speak any highly of them.
Class.
I'm very grateful as well to have been trusted to do the tattoos, and they still to this day get tattooed by me. I think I've done like 7 tattoos on Jade now.
That's mad.
She was at the Brits the other night, me and Mrs. watching it, and then you just see like flashes of the tattoos I've done on the Brits. She won an award for best pop artist or newcomer or something. It's like,
and you think, wow,
it's
I did
surreal
that.
sometimes. Yeah, it's surreal.
Yeah,
you've seen them on that scale, and then you're like, we've had tea at a mum's house. We've all had tea at mum's house. Just normal people.
And
That's
you
what I
think
love.
they are just, like, even though that they looked at it in this kind of way, they are just normal people at the end of the day.
Yeah, they are. And that's what I love about it. I don't care if, like Alex, for example, is such a sound guy. He's got that like an endless pot of money, it seems, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And he's just so sound. But you'll meet some people who are just like arrogant because they've got money, or they're arrogant because they've got the famous and they've been on telly. For example, like I was saying with the tattooist, who's just like us, and she's a diva. We're all normal people. You've just been seen by a lot more people than others. That's all it is, and you've been rewarded for it a little bit.
Money's no excuse to be a cunt. You know what I mean? I say this all the time. Like, just because you got money, you don't have to be a dickhead.
Yeah.
You can still be humble. You can still be a nice person.
Yeah.
And not look down on people who don't have money or whatever.
Oh,
Do you
exactly.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't care if you've got a quid in your pocket or $1 million quid. It doesn't matter.
Show me respect. I'll
Yeah,
show
it's
you
only
back.
nice. I just like a nice conversation with nice people.
100%.
That'll do me.
But I want to be cautious that I'm not taking up too much of your time as well, but still, like, a couple of bits I want to cover, if that's cool with you. So,
Of course.
one that I did want to say, while it's fresh in the front of my mind, what's the most memorable and like meaningful tattoo that you've... Sorry, I'll start again. What's your most memorable tattoo that you've done on someone that you thought, that stands out, and it's like, it was...
There's multiple stories where there's one probably about a year ago. You know, it was an older, middle-aged guy. He'd lost his daughter. She was only like 20 odd. He lost his daughter like suddenly to terminal cancer, and like the decline was. I'm sure. I do apologise if I've got it wrong. It was within months from being diagnosed to dying. And it was his only daughter. Tattooed a portrait of that. Stuff like that is so heavy. I get emotional over stuff like that.
Mate,
It's just,
I'm teary. I've got a little girl, do you know what I mean? And like, it's like your worst nightmare ever, do you know what I mean?
my dog went to daycare.
Please tell me how you're going to try and turn this terminal cancer into your dog going to daycare.
My dog went to daycare. I just told about the emotional side of it. My dog went to daycare, and at Christmas he got a handwritten letter from Santa saying how good my dog had been. I was nearly crying at that. I was like, my blood, my little dog. He's been so good at daycare. But yeah, do you know what? It was it's a very memorable tattoo because thank God I did a mint job of it, and it looks exactly like her.
Was that a portrait then?
Yeah, it was a portrait, and it was a nice portrait because she was a singer and she had the microphone in her hand, and he was like that. I've got so many memories of her singing and stuff, and that's all he's got left now. So stuff like that really hits home because, for me personally, I've given that guy I could permanently see a tattoo that looks exactly as what he was after for the rest of his life.
That's the thing as well. Like I said it to you before downstairs. I was like, I've got a bit sometimes like verbal diarrhea where I talk for the sake of talking. Anyway, but I was like, I'm going to try and not speak to you while you're tattooing me because I want to make sure we get it all out on the pod. But the industry that you're in, you're not just a tattoo artist because you've got these clients coming in. You have to be like a bit of a chameleon and deal with each different person and what their personality type's like. And like you just said there, like some of the stories that you'd be getting told on a daily basis, because
some are heavy,
some are unbelievable. I imagine. Like you said, that one there is like
that. Yeah, that was heavy. Like, for for example, I had to leave a couple of weeks ago. I had to leave and like make excuse because I was like, I'm going to start crying here myself. It was a grandkid and her nana, and was getting handwriting that from the granddad that had just passed.
Yeah.
And they were just both in tears, and I was like, and it was at the time before I lost my granddad, thank goodness, because I would choking me up again thinking about it now. But it's like, don't know. It's just brings stuff back home, doesn't it, to you? And sometimes you put yourself in their shoes and you think it's so strong. How people just carry on and stuff.
Well, I didn't want to say it too much before as well, but like, even with the tattoo gun that you made with that company, and every time that you spoke, was your granddad quite an influential figure? Yeah,
he was, to be honest. Yeah, not in just in the way it's just so supportive. The thing with my granddad is like I feel like I connected, like, and the family connected with our granddad more than most people do with the granddad, because he was so tech savvy. He was on TikTok, he was on Facebook. So every day he's posting, like, he'd play these zombie games on Facebook and then somehow screen record it and put it on so we could all see how well he'd done on the zombie game. And it's sad now, because I put a tattoo on Facebook and I'll never see that notification of him commenting saying like, great tattoo Danny boy and stuff like that. So it's just, for me, it's just really hit hard, because would I be doing what I'm doing without his influence? Probably not, because I would never have been around tattoos, because my mum and dad haven't got him. He's literally the only one.
The swallow.
The swallow, and it was so on show. For me, it's the first person I've lost as well in my family, and it's like, you don't want anyone to go, but it's like, God, I couldn't believe it. And so I just got to work as well. I knew I'd seen him a couple of days in hospital and we knew he wasn't well. He had COPD, and just got to work, and then my cousin rang me, and she went, "Where's Grandad?" I was like, "Oh, he's in." Oh, you don't mind me sharing this? Don't know why I'm opening up about this.
Mate, yeah, 100%. As long as you feel comfortable sharing it. Yeah.
She said, "Where's Grandad?" I was like, "He's on ward." He was like 21, whichever it were. I was like, "You crying?" She went, "No," and hung up. I was like, "That's weird." I said to Sam, I was stood there with Sam and Christy. I was like, I hate it when family ring me at the moment. It just doesn't sit right. He's been not well for a while, but he's always made a comeback. And I just always very nervous. And then she ran me back straight away in tears. She went, "You need to come to the hospital." I was like, "What?" She went, he's going. I was like, no. So I just went straight to the hospital, and because me and my brother was with him a couple of days before, joking, talking about work, talking about whiskey and just what we always spoke about. He just got a new watch. He loved his watches. That's what got me into watches, for example. Loved watches. And then to see him looking fine, to then a couple of days when I went in that room, it will haunt me for the rest of my life, in terms of like, that wasn't my granddad. And then fortunately we all made it there, and he just went. But I'm just grateful I was there, 100%. To the end, and I saw him a couple of days before. But listen, I don't know your family, but I imagine he's very proud of everything you'd done and achieved. He loved this. And then when he passed, one of the nurses went, "Are you the tattooist?" I went, "You what?" He went, "Your granddad said you're a tattooist," and he was talking about you. I was like, brilliant.
Did you ever tattoo him?
No. Because he'd got all the medication he was on, his skin was so thin, man. You'd just tap him, he'd bruise. And he'd been like that, because like I said, I've been tattooing 14 years or something now. He's been not of health for a lot longer, so I'd never been able to tattoo him. I'd love to have, but I got a tattoo for him a couple of weeks ago. I did one on myself for him. It's just learning to cope with that.
You showed me before, like, and it's
we did. So we played Sinatra for him when we was in the room, and That's Life came on by Sinatra, and he started moving to it, and it was just so weird how he responded to it, knowing he was literally at that time he was only like an hour or so from going. So that just sticks in my head, that song now. So
you got on your wrist.
So I got it tattooed on me, That's Life, because just just as a little reminder. And he loved Elvis anyway, so, and I love Elvis, so I've had that a good few months anyway.
I keep seeing that as you're talking as well.
Yeah, it's class. I've got a little Elvis there as well, so yeah, he had influences on me when it comes to tattooing or even music and watches and stuff like that.
Probably, now you've aired it, probably more of an influence than you ever actually
Yeah,
thought.
when you start thinking about it, yeah, like I forgot about the watches and stuff like that. But yeah, no, he was a good guy.
Sick, love that. Do you know what? I'm going to look at this for the first time, so I feel like we've literally spoke for ages, and I don't want to feel like I've missed anything. Quick one. I'll try and change the mood a little bit as well.
Yeah.
You got me choking. I'm quite an emotional guy anyway, as well. But there was minutes before and I was like,
we're all human, aren't we, mate?
yeah.
Shows
As much as most people like to pretend they're not. But so one thing that I did see on your social media was a video you put on. We spoke about it briefly earlier, where you basically said, like, I think it's disrespectful to tattoo artists like you and other tattoo artists that have basically sacrificed their time in your early part of your career, where you're an apprentice, you're tattooing for free.
Yeah.
You're basically doing you're doing the shit jobs, really. You're filling up stations and you're doing all that sort of stuff just to be in that environment.
Yeah.
And there's people out there now doing like these courses where it's like learn to tattoo in a day or 7 days or whatever, and they're charging this stupid amount of money. Can you go into a bit of detail?
Yeah, I'm just totally against it. I always have been, because I know firsthand you can't learn to tattoo from scratch by watching videos. I've tried it. I did it for 12 months. I've made some really bad tattoos. And I think it's not just tattooing. There's a lot of people selling the dream on courses, and these poor people are giving these richer people the lifestyle, because they're funding it and buying these courses. Some stuff you can obviously learn and pay these people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For example, if someone's selling a course on how to be an expert at Canva, for example,
You could do it.
they're going to show me I'm going to be able to do it, because but practical stuff like physically tattooing, that person can't come through the screen and say, "Whoa, you're going too deep there." You're not going deep enough with that. You're going to because if the margins for what's the word? Catastrophe. What's the word?
Catastrophe.
Catastrophe.
Yeah, catastrophe.
Catastrophe. The margins between, probably I shouldn't use that word, but for making a very big mistake that's unfixable in tattooing, the margin's so small.
Yeah.
If you go too deep, that little bit, just by that little bit, you've blown the whole tattoo out, and it's unfixable. It will come up in a bruise, it'll stay under the skin, and you just won't get rid of it. So,
wow, really? So the ink will come out in a bruise?
Yeah, if it goes into the wrong layer of skin. So you've got 2 layers of skin, the tattoo will sit in the top layer of skin. If it goes into the skin below, it'll bruise and blow out. It'll just spread under the skin. So if you go into that, then you're screwed. Someone can't show you that. You need someone there to make sure your needle's out just enough where that can't happen.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they're disrespecting the people like my apprentices who are putting the effort. Because tattoo apprenticeships you don't get paid for. There's no funding for it. So you're having to rely on that person to work their arse off by supporting themselves for a part-time job. And then when they're not at the part-time job, coming in here and doing stuff for free for you, doing the shit jobs, setting up stations, filling up whatever, drawing. There's so much drawing, it's unbelievable. Especially with me, I'll make sure the drawing's spot on before they go into practice skin. So they're disrespecting that, and they're just selling the dream. I'm telling you now, you will not be a good tattoo artist doing a course online. We
said it earlier as well. It's like you can't be a good brickie by watching a video on how to lay bricks. You gotta go and fucking lay bricks.
Yeah, you've got someone to go, "Oh no, that's not right. You need to level that up. It's not plumb or something like that." Same with tattoos. The stencil doesn't look right on their arm. You need to contour a bit more. You're just going to you can make someone's body shape look so out of sync by putting a tattoo stencil on wrong, for example. And then it's just the physical act of tattooing. It's just so precise. And like I say, it's so easy to fuck it up. It's unbelievable. So by doing a course, even if it's in person, I just really don't agree with it.
You've had people come to you as well who've been on these courses, haven't you?
Yeah. My latest apprentice, Sarah, she came to me. She wanted to do an apprenticeship. She told me she'd done this. She started an online course, and that was a few weeks. And it was a red flag straight away. And I said, "Look, I won't take you on if you're doing a tattoo course." But I said, "Feel free to pop in, and I can advise you on what to do." Because at the time, I didn't want an apprentice.
Yeah.
it was the other guy saying, "Oh, we could do with an apprentice. Just try it." She came, I told her about it, and she was open to and saying like, "I didn't know that was the way to do it." Honestly, she held her hands up and said, "I didn't know that was the way you should do an apprenticeship." Someone advised me to do it, who was also involved in tattooing in London. Said you should do this course. It would be good for you. And so she came in the mindset of expecting to rent a chair straight away and just be filled with clients after doing a course. It's just not what's going to happen. And then I've had someone who's gone on. There's a guy at the moment online who's selling the dream. Someone from Blackpool went on his course.
I think it's the guy I'm thinking of. Tattoo artists, normal tattooists don't drive around in Lambos. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get in a Lambo, and I think I'm doing all right.
You're getting a Lambo. Just the thing is, you've only got 13 quid over that Lambo price, so you've only got the 13 quid to play with.
It's not even a number. I'm not buying it. So yeah, he's doing it. He's a girl from Blackpool. She spent, I'm sure it's a couple of grand to do this. She said, "I've done this tattoo course. Have you got any space for me to rent a chair from you?" I was like, playing it on. I was like, "I'll send me some of your work and have a look at it first." Anyway, it was absolutely awful. It was, oh my God, half of it was too deep, some of it was too deep, some of it was not in at all. It was so shaky. The designs were awful. The placement was bad. I was like, "You just wasted your money."
And was this work done on actual human beings?
She'd done someone's skin, yeah. Yeah. Showed me a practice skins, which was, I wouldn't even let them on skin after seeing the practice skins. I'd be like, you need to make sure the practice skin's perfect. You can't nail that. You ain't nailing someone's actual skin where the pressure's on of a physical human being getting tattooed, and you start thinking, fucking hell, I can't mess this up. Because when you get that transition from just the fake skin to that, it's a totally different ballgame. So I was like, I wasn't nasty about it. I never am. I'm always trying to be constructive and give people the guidance, because I never got it, and if I can help, I will.
Yeah.
And I said, unfortunately, we haven't got the space, but I would really highly recommend you go to a studio and do an apprenticeship and not have this approach, because you won't get in anywhere, I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
So that's
I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, not a fan of the
I've had
courses.
people tell me I should do it because of my following, and I know I could do it. And
I said that to you before. My instant default was like, "Oh yeah, you could probably." But
Yeah.
then it's like,
I don't want to do it.
it's your reputation as well.
And
do you know what I mean?
especially with my other businesses like Checkmate and the tattoo care, I network so much with so many artists. If they see me doing that, they think, what an absolute dick he is, just trying to rinse it.
Do you know what? Sorry, it's still on topic, but every time I get a tattoo from States over the road, I always look and think, should get that tattoo care stuff. I think every time I get tattooed, literally looking at it for like 8 hours at a time, and I'm like, I'll get one of them today. I'll ask Stacey at the end. By the end of the tattoo, I get in the car, I drive home, like, shit, and I go to shop and buy the Panthem, and I'm like, why am I still doing? And every time I'm going to go, right, this time I'll do it. I'll ask her at the end, and I get to the end, and I'm like,
You just want to get out after a big session. That's what your head's
well,
like.
no, I made a conscious.
Take one before you leave.
No, I'll buy one. I won't buy one off you, but I'll buy one before I leave. But I'll get a big one so I don't have to put it out. Do you know what I mean? Sick of buying the Panthem. I'll just go into the products then. So, I said it before. You're not just Danny Robinson tattoo artist. One thing you did say to me that I stuck out to me was to be successful. Obviously, like what Al said, you need to make money while you sleep.
Yeah.
And then you was like, oh, but I've got my e-com businesses as well. So is that your e-com businesses, is this to do with the spirits and so on, or is that something different?
I class the e-commerce business as both, really, because you can buy the spirits and the aftercare online. Which started with the aftercare first because I'd always wanted my own aftercare products, basically, because I was sick of basically using Vaseline whilst tattooing, then recommending people to use Bepanthen and whatever, and all these different products. I thought it'd just be easier if I could use a product to tattoo with, and then I can go, look, take one of them home. It's what I've been using all day. You're not introducing more shit to your skin, and it's really good for you. So all these products, they're handmade. Everything's made by hand. They're 100% natural. They're vegan friendly. They are great for skin.
Do you mind if I hold one up?
Yeah,
the
of course, yeah.
Show one off, because
they're
sick as well.
full of antibacterial.
I'll buy this one, so I'm not just showing it off.
You smell it as well. They all smell good. They've all got scents.
Oh yeah, they do smell class.
But they're just good for the redness and for your skin as well. During the tattoo, you'll notice the redness just dramatically just reduces because of everything that's in it.
Is it a bit like I've used that Mad Rabbit stuff before. Like when you rub it in and stuff, does it like? Make
It's
your tattoos
similar,
pop?
but we don't rinse your pockets as much as Mad Rabbit do.
I got stuck in it. I saw that online. I make your tattoos look great again. I was like,
Yeah.
15 quid, sound it, come.
It's
It's
tiny.
like this big.
It's a 50 mil, which we sell for £4.
Yeah, I was like, what can I do with that?
But yeah, do you know what? They're good. So I started that on my own. I've got ended up just going 50-50 with the guy who makes it for me now, because I was literally shipping every product myself.
Just at home.
Yeah, it's at home in my office, and then we moved here, and the business was getting bigger, so I was having to come into work even earlier. I was doing all my orders, dropping them off to the post office, and then coming to do work, tattooing. And
Do you do like paid ads or anything with that, or is it all just?
I've never paid a penny towards advertising. That's the crazy thing. It's just naturally grown. It's something I'm trying to learn a little bit and dive into is Facebook ads.
Yeah.
I've got another e-commerce business which I can't talk about. I just can't talk about it. I can't say I'm anything to do with it. But that is absolutely flying. Which is like, it's flying more than these combined pretty much. And we've like our first year we did 100k without even one paid advert. It was just our network and getting tattooists and stuff on board. So yeah, unfortunately I can't go into that because that is exciting. But yeah, and that's Checkmate Tattoo Care.
Sick.
So all our artists use it.
Is that all your artists use it?
Pretty much, yeah. They all use it. They all get it. We have soaps as well that we use and sell, so you can go home and wash it with that instead of just. We're just trying to streamline it so it's just easy for. It's like idiot-proof for our customer. Like wash it with that, put that balm on.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong. It's literally
it's
as
simple, which is what people want.
Yeah.
Seen it before, like the Amazon process, but like making things so simple and easy to do. It's like as long as I get tattooed at Checkmate, I use the wash from Checkmate, I use the aftercare from Checkmate, and it's when people speak about a tattoo, like, oh well, obviously I go to Checkmate because it's all about Checkmate. So
that's also why it was a big swing for me to just change the name, because that was doing well, and there's a lot of artists across the UK that are using these products as well, and it's like promoting Checkmate as well at the same time. So yeah, that's brilliant. And then
do the paid do your own influencer scheme on it, like what
yeah, no, that is a very good idea. Yeah, something I would definitely be keen in looking into, because especially like there's a lot of tattoo models and stuff out there, and people listen to them, and they all got good following. So I just need to learn. I know I could be doing so much more with it. It's just finding the time, because I deal with everything on that, like on this side of business, in terms of promoting it, coming up with the sense. My business partner, he does all the fulfillment and making the product, which is that's the stress of it, because there's a lot of quite a bit of legwork that goes into making these products.
A lot of manual,
which is great as well, because it's only a small family business that make it. The guy, his mum makes the products with his cousins and stuff.
Sick.
And annoyingly, I can't mention who the business partner is as well. But yeah, and then we did Checkmate Spirits as well.
So how long have you done the tattoo care?
I started planning that in lockdown.
Okay.
So this is 2019/20. Lockdown was just perfect to have. I had enough time to finally make sure I had time to do a business plan, do the designs.
Well, I was going to say, like, lockdown for most tattoo artists was like horrendous, because like you said, you covered it. I was going to ask you the question, how was it for you? But you said you were luckily, well, because no luck involved. You were cautious enough to make sure that you were financially stable throughout a period of time anyway. Yeah. But instead of just sitting there from up your arse thinking, what shall I do? You was like, right, what's the next idea?
Yeah.
So is that where that come around?
Yeah. I've always wanted an e-commerce business, because that is just the way of the world at the moment, isn't it? And it was helping with it was just my bit. I just always in my head wanted a backup plan in case I did break my hand or something like that. That would still run and get to it's at a level now where I'm really happy with it. What it does.
I know we said before, I won't ask you revenue wise, but like
it's just doing good.
Good
for something that I'm not I'm not paying to advertise or anything. It's just a bit of passive income.
Is your plan to go like hell for leather?
I'd absolutely love to. I would absolutely love to. I'd love to get this product in stores and stuff and have like a tattoo range in big supermarkets and stuff. But Panthen clicked onto it. They bought a tattoo Panthen out, a version of. It's the same thing. They've just rebranded it.
I bought it and I was like, I used to buy an old Panthen and I thought, oh, there's a tattoo one. I bought it and I thought, it's fucking Panthen.
It's pretty much exactly the same, yeah. So, how big tattooing is, I don't see why. I just have to work the logistics out, because that product, if it's in the wrong temperature room, the consistency of it can fluctuate. So it would just be working out that, which we are dealing with, because at the moment, originally that would crystallise if it was in a warm room and then went into a cool room. It'd crystallise and it would be like pretty rough. But now we've changed the formula and it doesn't do that.
That one that I got, I won't say the name again, but that one I got that's what that one from that other company did. And they had to like proper rub it to get it like back to the oily sort of texture kind of thing.
So we've worked out how to get rid of that, so it doesn't do that now with them, which is a good fact thing if it did get into stores or whatever. But I absolutely love it. My missus did all the branding for it as well, because she's whiz on Photoshop. She's a marketing genius. So she's saved me a lot of money. So I briefly drew out what I wanted and she just did it all. She flew with it. So she's done all the branding for that, the branding for the spirits.
So when did you go into the spirits then? Was that?
It went long after that, to be fair. It was like just out of lockdown. An old friend got in touch who has a distillery in Garstang and said, have you not thought about bringing out a spirit range with your following and something to plug and monetize you're following? I thought I'd always wanted I love whiskey and stuff like that, and I wanted to do a vodka range because I was a vodka drinker, and gin was the massive thing at the time, still is a bit, but so she said, you could do vodka, but we can do gin. You need to do gin.
Yeah.
And then she mentioned rum. Like, rum's getting big now. I was like, I don't know if I like rum. I don't even remember drinking it. And Mrs. drinks rum, and she was like, why don't we try it? Anyway, we just did all three at once.
Sick.
So, so we've got gin, rum, vodka. There's 12 lines of different flavours across all three of them. All flavoured. Like, we do normal, like dry gin, a normal botanical vodka, but we do like black raspberry vodka, watermelon, different flavours. Same with the gin. And then the rum, we do spice rum, dark rum.
Nice.
Yeah, cherry rum. We do loads.
And is that all online as well?
That's online, but we're in 72 bars locally as well, and stuff in the area within the northwest and UK.
Is that just from you reaching out to people? And
a bit of both. Like, my business partner is very well connected in that industry. I've influenced some of it, but to be fair, she herself and the guys we have working doing the sales and that, they pretty much do it. That's the least thing I have involvement in at the moment.
You actually got a team selling it?
Yeah, she's got a team. So the distillery, we've got the distillery in Garstang. Everything's literally made there. It's all small batched as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's 20 or 30 bottles we can make most out of like one distill. So like, it's not like we can mass produce.
Yeah.
Everything is quality. I'm not just saying it because it's mine, but like, for example, if you had a shot of Smirnoff now, you'd be like, it'd blow your head off. If you had a shot of ours, you'd want another one straight away. It's that smooth, because everything's distilled twice as well. So when you're making alcohol, when it's fully distilled, it's called the heads and tails. So the top of it and the bottom is all your shit stuff. So companies like your bigger companies, they'll recycle that. We just get rid of it and then get the good stuff and distill it again. So it's double distilled. So it just makes things really smooth when you drink it. So most of our products you'd be able to drink just on ice and enjoy it without it blowing your head off.
So you do?
Oh yeah. Like, we're just trying to. I really want a whiskey because I love whiskey. But
that was my point. I don't drink anymore, but that was my poison whiskey. And I was like, I could sit there. I drink it straight. People, I don't know how you do that. And I'm like, it's the only way to fucking drink it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my poison whiskey. So it'd be sick if you made one though.
Yeah,
is that your plan?
No. It's more of a fantasy. I just don't think I've not really prioritised that as like something I really want to do. Maybe eventually. But the thing I like with all our stuff is we make everything ourselves. Like all the botanicals are sourced. It's all made by us. Whiskey, because a good whiskey you have to age it for at least 12 years to make it of a good value and make people want it. So we'd have to start making it now to sell it in 12 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the only thing that's made with a bit of a delay is our rum, because we cask it for 8 weeks before we, in a rum barrel before we make it. But yeah, it's doing well. 72 bars and that for a little side thing is pretty good.
Class, mate. I don't know if I asked this at the beginning, but I usually sort of lead this one. It's the last one, and then I'll unless you've got anything else you want to add. But is if you could go back in time to Danny when he was 15, would there be any advice that you'd give Danny at 15, or anything that you'd tell him? I would say buy Bitcoin, because that's just a hack.
Yeah.
You can't say that one.
I've had bad luck with Bitcoin, so I wouldn't advise that. I think it'd be nice to say maybe slow down and focus more on what I'm actually skilled at than something I'm not. Like I was trying all sorts of businesses, when really if I just knuckled down and got into tattooing a lot earlier, I'd probably be more advanced than what I am now. I think it would be that. I think it would be focus on what you're truly good at and your talent and your passion.
Would you change anything if you could?
No, I don't really have any regrets. I've had a really, really good. I've had a good life.
Good.
I've been everywhere. I'm very grateful for tattooing, because it's given me the money that I needed to do what I wanted to do. I've travelled the world, seen everything I've wanted to do. So yeah, I don't think I would change anything. If I wasn't in the position I wanted to be in, then I'd probably be saying yeah. But I've done what I've wanted to do, and now it's just maintaining it and growing beyond where I'm at now.
From the outside looking in, it looks your success. Sorry, actually, that's another question. What's your definition of success?
Just being happy, I think. Because if you're not happy, it's pointless, isn't it? And people seek money and see happiness in different ways, whether it's money or just progressing in life, having a family. But yeah, for me, it's I just want to be happy.
Have you ever had a point in your professional career where you've been earning good money but you've still been unhappy?
Yeah, I've been depressed. I've been on antidepressants and all sorts before tattooing, and during my career. It was a long time ago. I don't think tablets are the solution now. It's all mindset, and I would never put myself in that state. The thing for me that I'm trying to adjust is that I get really anxious a lot more than I used to. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know. I think I get in my own head sometimes. I just want everyone to see me as a nice person. I think that's what it is. I
think you do a good job of it.
Oh, thank you.
Very good job of it. This is the first time that we've met face to face.
Yeah.
I said the turnaround was so quick, and not one point in time has the conversation been awkward. You can just see how genuine you are, and the fact that you wear your heart on your sleeve and you've been able to be open and talk to me the way you have done.
The best way is I'm open with anyone if they want to hear it, whatever. It's like I say, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, and it's important to see both sides to that. So yeah, I think as long as I remain happy and got a roof over my head, that'll be me.
You got a nice roof, especially there.
Nice roof. This was an expensive roof, don't you?
Well,
I'm happy.
Good. That's the main part, and I couldn't say thank you enough for, like I said, the turnaround and getting me in here and letting me come into
no problem at all.
Your
mate.
place. And
thank you for coming. Grab yourself a bottle on the. Oh, you don't drink now, do you?
I don't drink. No, I'd love to be.
If you want to gift it or anything, feel free to.
Do you know what I might take one.
Yeah.
I'll do it as a.
Pass it on, gift it on.
I'll do it as a raffle at work, so the top performer can get one.
Yeah,
tomorrow in
good,
the
mate.
office. But
whatever you want.
One thing
mate.
I did want to do is I'll grab them. I tried to come near the thing. I tried to get as close for sizing as possible, right? So I looked at some of your pictures as well, and I thought you wear more the tight, active wear. So I didn't want to bring a big oversized t-shirt.
Yeah.
So I've got you a couple of active wear.
Oh mate, this is class.
And just one of the hoodies as well, the new hoodies we've just
done. Oh, brilliant. So this is all yours then? This is class.
These are my ones, yeah. So it's all Say Less branding.
Yeah.
I'm
I like the fit of that, what you're wearing as well. It's nice, I like it.
My office is round the corner, so I can bring you one of these as well.
Oh, mate, no, don't worry. I'll buy one off you. It's cool.
But yeah,
I like it. It's great. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
100%. Don't don't swear. But as I said as well, you're a true advocate. Like the motto we've got is like mastery in silence, working hard when no one's watching, and you were in your bedroom working hard when no one else is watching. You got saw in your car, and then next thing you fucking in America tattooing these famous people, getting tattoos with Little Mick. So
yeah, no, it's been a good ride and a good journey.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the Jack Fletcher podcast.
Yeah,
podcast. I've enjoyed it. I've absolutely loved it, mate. So
no,
thank
Jack.
you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Cheers.